What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to another watch along here on Anfield Agenda. The Reds taking on Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup with a place at the quarter-final stage at stake. Well, the team news is, I'm going to be quite frank about that, honestly, a shit show. Nothing else to add to that. It is exactly what it is, a shit show. But we'll talk about that in a moment. I don't know what 11 that is. I don't know what he's trying to do, prove, but that is a throwaway 11 if ever I've seen one. And yeah, I ain't happy about it. But we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll try to figure out exactly how we're going to line up. Just let me figure out a couple of bits and pieces here on the camera. There we go. Get that back to there. Brightness. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out a few bits and pieces here, camera-wise. There we go. I think that almost looks human, doesn't it? There we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the colour tone right here for everybody. Yeah, I'm not happy with that team selection, ladies and gents. It's an absolute joke of a team. And look, I don't think you've ever heard me complain about team selection before a game. Genuinely, in my 6-7 years doing this, I think I've never came on here and said that that's an absolute disgrace of a team selection, but that is an absolute disgrace of a team selection, and I don't know what else to say. Look, you can say how seriously you want to take this competition or not. That's an individual decision, but that team selection right there is so far off being acceptable for the form we're in. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I don't know what to say, folks, but I'm not expecting much from the game with that starting 11. Let's take you through it anyway so we can figure out exactly who is in the lineup. It's Woodman, Gomez, Endo, Kirkes, McAllister, Chiesa, Robertson, Leone, Ramsey, Morrison, and Gamoa. That is the starting 11 for today's game. Your Liverpool bench today. Pecci, Gordon, Cone Doherty, Piddington, Figueroa, Nallo, Pilling, Lucky, and Laffy. So, yeah, doesn't feel like this is going to be a confidence-building win, does it? Yeah, look, see, we were discussing in our Discord group earlier on how seriously we should be taking this game, and we're all kind of a little bit mixed in what we're going for, but this team is probably weaker than I expected, having no real centre-forward on the bench either. Yeah, it's like he's just basically thrown away this competition in my mind with that team, but the bench as well. Look, I'm going to be honest, I don't recognise at least a quarter of that bench. But hey ho, let's wait and see. Like I said, it's weaker than I expected coming into the game, and I did expect the manager to make lots of changes, but yeah, basically, I feel like he doesn't give a shit about this competition at this point. And you know what really is annoying is it's a quarter-final place at stake. So if we can get through it, you're in the quarter-final. But it's just, I don't know. It's one of the rare occasions where I'm going to say I'm not happy with that team selection early doors. But, you know, let's go over to the chat and see how everybody else is feeling. Right, where are we at? Liz, how are we? Was Slot drunk during team selection? I really don't know what to say. Liz, it just feels, as somebody in the chat has just said, it just feels arrogant. It feels arrogant and it feels disrespectful. And here's the thing. I'm not buying into anyone needing a rest outside of Virgil van Dijk, maybe. You know, outside of him who's played pretty much every game. I'm not buying into that these lads need a rest because we haven't been good enough. They should be played into form, and to have absolutely no striker, like no Isak, no Ekitike, anywhere on the bench, anywhere. It just feels like he's just basically said, well, you know, let's exit this competition, lessen the workload, and move on. We'll take you through Crystal Palace's team in a second, but look, I'm really not happy. So Crystal Palace have gone for Benitez, Munoz, Canva, Lacroix, Gay, Sosa, Kamada, Hughes, Sarr, Pino, and Ketia. On their bench, Henderson, Mitchell, Lerma, Uche, Mateta, Klein, Essa, Devaney, and Cardenas. So they've a stronger all-around selection than we do. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I was coming into the game tonight thinking, you know, whatever happens, happens. I'm not too fussed. I'm not up. I'm not down about it. But that team selection, and it's not just me, by the way, because I'm getting messages a go here from people. If you look at my WhatsApp now, you just see notification after notification of people saying what on earth is he doing? What on earth is this team selection? Palace have gone almost full strength, and we're going out with. I don't want to be disrespectful and say what I'm thinking, but yeah. So, Chula Jackson said, what annoys me is we don't even have anyone on the bench. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Look, we're all understanding of the fact that you need to mix it up somewhat. But the bench, usually you should have 2 or 3 heavy hitters on there. You hope you don't need to use them, but you got to have some of the heavy hitters on the bench. Nope. Yeah. And I don't want to hear these lads are tired or... No, they shouldn't be tired. I'm sorry. We're in October now. They've had a summer break, a proper summer break. They had an end to the season last season where, let's be honest, they weren't actually overexerting themselves, were they? Because the league was won. Yeah, this is just asking for trouble, in my opinion. And we're supposed to back this. My God, said Gio. Arna wants to lose on purpose, said Itachi. Blaine Williams said, this is crazy. Wow, at least gives us a chance slot, or at least give us a chance slot. And thank you, by the way, Blaine, for your 5-month membership. Look, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's annoyed by this team selection, because when I seen it, I thought, well, Craig, you're either going to be on your own here or people are going to be with you on it. But I'm glad to see people are with me on it because, it's a trophy at the end of the day. A trophy's a trophy's a trophy. And we're probably outsiders of the league now. We don't deserve to talk about winning the Champions League at this point. And we're 1 win away from a quarter-final in the competition. And he goes, this week. And then, as I said, it's always somewhat of a game of poker when you've got 2 Premier League clubs going head-to-head in the League Cup to see which manager goes strong and which manager doesn't. But this is, this is a massive 2 fingers up to the League Cup, in my opinion. Palace have gone nearly full strength. Meanwhile, we haven't even got 1 heavy hitter on the bench. Slot sabotaged us today. Scoreline might be scary. So the thing, and on that, Johnny Sins, it's not like we can sit here now and say Palace don't have European football, right? So we can't hear the workload nonsense from the manager because Crystal Palace are also in Europe, which means they're playing the same amount of games as we're playing, roughly. And they've gone strong. But our manager, under pressure, having lost 5 of the last 6, goes with that. Cool. Wayne, TOTT2KZ1 said, I'm sorry, but at this point, Slot is clearly trying to get himself sacked. What is this team? Our lads play awful all season and Slot goes and lets them rest. Exactly. Resting isn't what they should be doing now. Getting into a rhythm and fucking performing is what they should be doing now. I'm not happy, lads. I'm not happy. Did I mention I'm not happy? I'm trying to find a positive slant to put on this. I really am. I'm here racking through my brain now, trying to figure out a way to be upbeat about this. But the only way I guess we can be upbeat about it is if we win. But look, there are some small positives, and let's try to focus on them. So as an example, we get to see young Rio Ngamoa. We get to see Fede start. We get to have another look at Joe Gomez, see how he gets on. Trey Leone, I'm always interested in. Calvin Ramsey plays his first senior game for Liverpool for 3 years. Yeah. I mean, Connors had a go at the formation there. And Ramsey right back, Kirkes left back, Robertson and Gomez as the centre backs, Endo, McAllister midfield, then Morrison, Leone, Ngamoa, and Chiesa up top. I mean, that's the best guess out of from Connor. Whitehammer said, Craig, this sums it up. I called out team to my girlfriend who's a Liverpool fan, and her response was, what is he? Doesn't sound like 7 dwarfs on the bench, Lucky, Laffy, etc. Good shout from the girlfriend. She's got a good sense of humour. Look, Whitehammer, I don't know what to say, mate. I expected changes, but there's changes and there's, changes. And what gets me as well is, I know a lot of people whose only chance to get to a game is in the Auto Cup or is in the Cup games. And they've gone to Anfield tonight, and we've had many conversations during the week with Liverpool fans who are maybe gone over for their first game, and this is what they're greeted with. That team. That's what their hard-earned money is rewarded with by the manager. That team. Okie doke. Bro, this dude wants to get sacked. What a clown. I bet he thinks he's untouchable. I feel so sorry for the fans who paid for the tickets. He needs to go. I was just making that point, Virg. I remember this week, it stands out to me particularly, dude, because a lot of people were able to get to this game that, couldn't get the league games, couldn't get the Champions League games. And I know so many people who were excited going over, and we've been talking to them on the streams at night. People dropping in with a chat and saying, look, I'm going to the game, first trip to Anfield, really excited. Imagine you're sitting there now, you forked out your money, you bring in your kids or your missus or your fella or whoever over with you, and you forked out for your flights and your hotel, your match tickets, and you're sitting there and the manager puts out that team. Yeah, it's just not right. Jay, Arsenal has all the big players in the squad today. But see, what gets me, Jay, right? Does anyone think these lads need a rest? Because I don't think they need a rest. I think they need a kick up the arse. Not a rest, a kick up the arse. That's what I think our lads need. And for me, like I said, I'd be making sure Wirtz plays this game. I'd be making sure that players who aren't playing well are forced into playing this game to start playing themselves into form. But no, let's just rest everybody up. But see what he's done now is, if we don't beat Aston Villa at the weekend, he's fucked. And I don't say that lightly. Because you can say this is the throwaway game, but you got to then start backing that up with wins at the weekend, win midweek against Real Madrid. Lads, I want to be upbeat about this, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not upbeat about it one bit. So, let's just ask a simple poll. Are you happy with the team? Let's go with that. So, are you happy with the squad today? Simple poll to kick us off tonight. We've an hour to kick off, so we'll leave it run for a while. Yeah. Look, there's every chance we could pull out a miracle and win this game. There's every chance the young lads step up. But I don't think Arna's putting his best foot forward here. Stevie Boy said, what happens if Kirkes and Robbo both get injured? Who plays at left back? I'm guessing Gomez, but your point is a valid one. We spoke the other night and we said, well, we couldn't be playing Connor Bradley because if he gets injured, then we're screwed at right back. So the manager then goes and puts the two left backs in the team. Ibrahim and Kanade should have been forced to play this game out of embarrassment. And I'm being blunt about that. Kanade, he should have been told, you've been so shit lately this season, mate, that you have to play this game tonight because I need to see something from you. And I need to see a reaction from you. So Kanade should have been put in this team, in my opinion, just to teach him a consequence to how shit he's been playing. I've not seen a single person yet, by the way, that's come in and said that they're happy with the lineup, but Itachi said, I almost want the loss. Look, I never want Liverpool to lose a game of football, mate, and I'll never, ever let that happen or seep into my brain. But it feels like if he does lose, his excuse will be, well, we put out a weakened team, a much changed team. What did you expect, right? Because if there's one thing I've learned this season about Arna is he loves an excuse. Loves an excuse, whether it's a low block, a long ball, a long throw in. Now it'll be, well, they went strong, we went weak. And somehow that will be out of his control in the match reaction if we lose. Watch. Shane said, watch you win now. Unfortunately, we're already out of this competition because we got beat by the team Brentford absolutely bloody battered. So, look, we could win, Shane. Of course, winning's not off the table tonight. But he's not given us the best chance to do it, has he? If we win, it'll be in spite of it. And look, of course, we want those young players to come in and do well. But you can't say to me that this is anything other than two fingers up to this competition from the manager at a time where, let's be honest, he hasn't earned the arrogance this season to start jibbing off competitions. A trophy's a trophy. A trophy's a fucking trophy. Gary said the players need to kick up the arse, rewarding them with a break. Just laziness and no effort is the best this team can do. It's just, yeah, exactly. It's, yeah, and I'm glad to see so many people in the chat are as annoyed about it as I am, because sometimes I think I'm, you know me, I hold the team to a high standard, but it's just like he doesn't care about it. Slot flips the script, we go low block, long throw in. We don't have the big, tall personnel to do that, though. That's the thing. To be going with the directness, you need big physical presence, and the players we're putting out there tonight aren't that. And thank you, Matt Denny, as well, for 22 months with us, bro, as a member. Thank you. See the lineup on the agenda X and thought it was fake, said Corbin. Well, yeah, I got a few snippets of the lineup throughout the day, and never did I think it was going to actually look this weak on paper. Particularly the bench, right? And that's what gets a lot of us about this. Starting 11 being weak, okay. Managers have done that in the League Cup. But to just look at that bench then and think that he's none of the big hitters on there in case things do go tits up, that's not good enough. It is just not good enough. We've seen historically he rests Salah, he rests Van Dijk during these games. Okay, fair enough. But you're telling me we couldn't have a Gakpo on the bench there? You're telling me Isak couldn't be on the bench? Or you're telling me that we couldn't have Canadi in that starting 11? I mean, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough from the manager. Bobby thought, happy with the squad. I'm going insane. No, I'm not happy, dude. I'm not happy. No, look, I want the young lads to do well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wishing the result away. But, if I sat here and told you I'm feeling optimistic, I'd be an absolute liar. Right, so somebody said, what's the bench? It is Petchy, Kate Gordon, Cone Doherty, Pinnington, Figueroa, Nallo, Pilling, Lucky, and Laffy. That's the bench. Cam, the man, said, I'm not fussed on the lineup. Give the young lads a chance to set up pressure on those not performing. I hear where you're coming from, though. Look, I just think, mate, when things are against you and you have a chance to stem the tide, go for it. Get a win. Build that confidence. It just feels like potentially, I don't mean easy win from the sense of the performance, but I mean easy win for the manager to show that he's trying to figure it out and put it right. Rewarding these lads with a rest, they don't deserve to be rewarded with a rest because they haven't deserved that rest. Curtis said, should be fighting on all fronts. Team selection is a joke and it could be damaging for those young players. Needs to be sorted out. So on that, Busy Media, welcome in, by the way, mate. Remember this summer, Curtis, when we signed these players? Remember what we were told? Because again, I hate revisionism. I hate it. We were told that Liverpool were assembling a squad that could go and dominate and compete across all competitions. Am I right or am I right? Were we all told that? That Liverpool are assembling a squad with the depth to go and compete across all 4 competitions. Does anybody feel like that the business we've done in the summer has enhanced our League Cup squad? Has it fuck? Do you know what I mean? It's just more of this. Just more double-speak waffle. And then when it comes down to it, we don't get it. This is basically... Fuck, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, where is that built-out squad that's allowing us to compete across all competitions? Because I'm not seeing it. Ryan said, play the first team, build the confidence. Thank you, Ryan. Look, even a mixture, dude, that team is a nothing team. Full of underperforming players. And players the manager doesn't want to play. Like Engamo and Chiesa, who we all want to play in serious games, but the manager will chuck them in here now. And if they don't win, he's got his built-in excuse. If this team doesn't win here tonight, he's got his built-in excuse to say, well, I gave Chiesa a chance, he didn't perform. I gave Rio a chance, he wasn't ready yet. That's what this team is. This is a fuck you. Uh, 25 Fries said, the bench is the thing that's pissing me off. The bench is just absolutely ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. That should be where the heavy hitters are. I don't think any of us here would disagree if the team looked like this and then we had Ekatike on the bench, let's say, we had Soboslai on the bench, we had Wirtz on the bench, and maybe one more. And you think, okay, if things aren't going well, there you go. We can bring in these players to rescue it. Nope. Warsaw said, I can't believe it. League Cup's a trophy. Win. So what you're going to hear from the manager is, will I put out a team that I thought could win the game? That's the age-old excuse the manager puts out over and over and over again. And somebody made a really good point there in the chat. The hopeful guy said, unfair on the youngsters, manager has done them wrong. I'm glad you brought up that point, mate, because I agree. You want to put youngsters into a team with senior players around them. They're going to fill them full of confidence and lift them up. And if this doesn't work out tonight, then, you know, you're going to have people saying, well, these kids aren't good enough. So I'm glad you brought that point up, and thank you for doing so. Frozen007 said, what do you think is going through Klopp's head tonight? I've no idea. Genuinely, bro, I've no idea where he is, what he's doing, if he's paying attention to this game or not. But I can tell you what's going through my mind and what's going through a lot of fans' minds is probably 3 letters, W, T and F. Deutschland070 said, hi Craig, hoping you're well. Reverse psychology, do you think Arno wants to be dismissed? No. I don't think any manager ever wants to lose their job, especially one as big as Liverpool Football Club. You know, the correct answer is probably he wants to rest the players, but from what? Like, look at Crystal Palace's team, look at Arsenal's squad. These are in the same competitions we're in. So we either have the squad depth to compete across all 4 competitions, or you're full of shit in what you told us over the summer about the business. Which one is it? Because, you know, I'm a fan of the League Cup, by the way. I've said this to you guys season on season. I prefer it over the FA Cup. That's just a personal thing. Probably because of our good history with the League Cup. And this feels like a potential pathway to a trophy. But nope. Arna just throwing a load of players together and seeing what happens. And again, nothing on the bench. Brad said, if we lost these next 4 games, what do you think Slot's holiday destination in the November international break will be? My guess is the Maldives. So my answer, Brad, is if we lose these next 4 games, his holiday destination should be wherever the fuck he's moving back to. Because if he loses these next 4 games, he should be fired. Make no mistake about it. In my opinion, if he loses these next 4 games, he should be fired. Because at that point, you're talking about 10 out of 11 games lost, and you've clearly lost the dressing room at that point. Now, again, we're in a hypothetical scenario, but if he lost these next 4 games, gone, bye, fired, see ya. And I don't know how anybody can go against that and defend it, because everything else is just going to be an excuse. And that's it. Cormac Doyle said, what I find funny is Slot went stronger in the previous round against a weaker opposition. There's lots, Cormac, mate, that I think we could all sit here and say we're confused by, bro, and you've made another good point, which a lot of people have made good points tonight since we've been on already, but, you know, I don't think too many of us should be too upset if that team was out there and the bench was a bit stronger. I think the bench is the final straw in this for a lot of us. You look at that and you just think, just give them a walkover. If you don't want to play the game, Arna, just give them a walkover. It's just... yeah. This one from Jay said, why does it hurt being a Liverpool fan right now? Because apart from the frustration, Jay, and thank you for being with us as a member for 10 months, apart from the frustration we're all feeling, Jay, you can throw confusion into the mix now and anger, right? Because with the money we spent in the summer, the performances and the results haven't been good enough. And you have a chance here tonight to get, you know, get up back on an even keel and get headed in the right direction again. And you just basically throw away the game. And my argument on this is always about the match going hardcore fans who have to pay for this shit. You know, we'll all know somebody who's at that game tonight, maybe for the first time. And their money isn't going to be refunded when the manager decides to put out a really, 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 really weakened team. I find it incredibly disrespectful. It's not a friendly. It's, you know, it's an actual competitive game. One of 4 competitions we're in every year. And we get lied to, once again, by the club's hierarchy. Liverpool are building a squad to compete across all competitions, to dominate. That's what we were told. That was the pitch in the summer. That isn't the team to want to go and win this competition. That is a fuck you team. Wayne said, lose tonight and loss against Villa, and he has to go. So look, I'm not going to rewrite what I've said. For me, I've said, Wayne, 2 of the 3 games between Villa, Real Madrid and City. If he loses 2 of those 3, for me, it's time to say bye-bye. If he wins them, happy days, we could be back on the right track. Because I see a lot of people saying, like Martin O'Neill was on Sky, and he was trying to be upbeat about Liverpool's situation. He was like, this is just a blip. It's just a blip. And you know what? I hope Martin O'Neill's right. But there's no signs of it being a blip to us. Because we're nearly there. It just looks like 1 week to the next, the same lack of understanding of what we're supposed to be doing out there. And Palace have gone fairly strong. Arsenal have gone fairly strong. And we've gone and taken the piss. Jordan said, I'm sorry, is this guy trying to get the sack? Prepare yourself for a low block in a few hours' time. Yeah, we're all as frustrating as each other with this one, Jordan, man. It's nuts. Let's have a look at the poll. So we asked, are you happy with the squad today? We're heading towards 3,000 votes. So when we get to 3,000 votes, we'll knock it on the head. So are you happy with Liverpool's squad today? Yes or no? Christian Berry said, are the first team players even there to watch the game? What's going on? Truth is, mate, I don't know the answer to that one. I'm sure we might see some of them in and around. But either way, it just feels wrong not to have a stronger bench than this. You know, whatever about the starting 11, but the bench is just a piss take. And thank you, by the way, Christian. Appreciate you. I hope so bad that they win, so the starters have something to think about. I want this game even more now. Look, I'd love it if we won, mate. Of course, we all want us to win, but it doesn't feel like the manager wants that win as much as all of us do here. But like we have to say, if the young lads do step up and win, yeah. But here's the thing. Let's say, Adam, we see Rio Ingamoa and Fede Chiesa put in a great shift today. Do you think that there is any chance whatsoever, no matter what they do tonight, that they're going to be in the starting 11 on Saturday night? I can guarantee you Chiesa could go out there and score a hat-trick tonight and he'll still be on the bench on Saturday when he picks the team. So I don't understand. There seems to be no way to win the manager back around here. None. Because, I don't know. I'm sorry. Because I know I'm being really negative here. And I'm the very guy who says all the time, can we stop the moan until the game starts? But this feels like an exception. This feels like a real 2 fingers up, like I've said. Jacko said, to play a team like that at home is shocking. Exactly. It's not like they had to travel the length and breadth of the country, mate. You're right. They're at home. And then they have another home game at the weekend, followed by, guess what? Another home game after that against Real Madrid. Yeah. Aaron Garza said, imagine the kids turn up looking like prime Barca. That would be a laugh. It would, but it won't happen because they don't have much experience of playing together. So there's always going to be a feeling out period when you've got so many players mixed in. But again, there's so many holes we could pick in this, and as Stevie Boy pointed out earlier on, you're putting your 2 left backs into the game tonight. Both of your starting left backs or your first team left backs are both out there on that pitch tonight. So you've not even rested up one of your full backs for the weekend's game. You've gone and thrown them both into the starting 11. The real Johnny Sin said players like Canade should be forced to play today. No rest is earned for players like him who've been stinking the gaff up. And I would have thrown in Wirtz as well into this team tonight to get him into more of a Premier League rhythm up against Palace, you know, another Premier League side, and at home to build that confidence. Right, so we've had 40 votes, and 80% of people are unhappy with the squad tonight. Now, I dare say that some of the 20% who are happy are going to be non-Liverpool fans. So I'm going to say that in the real world, the answer is probably about 5 or 6% higher. So for me, I'm going to say that squad is about 85% of the Liverpool fans watching aren't happy with that squad. Stevie Boy said, rested them all, then watched them come out against Villa and play like they're tranquilised. Yep. And moan about a low block or moan about long throw-ins or rinse repeat. But look, like I've said one particular phrase since Arna's come in, that the manager will live and die by his own decisions in football. You know, it's his job on the line. If he doesn't feel like getting knocked out of this competition is going to do him any harm, then, you know, he's pretty much laid out his stall here to say that, hasn't he? We will win. You will all see, and this will be a fuck off from Slot to us. It's already that, despite no matter what the result is, it's already 2 fingers up, in my opinion, mate, because I'm going to take you back once again to the summer when Liverpool's transfer business was being lauded and the club were all upbeat about it, and the narrative out was, and I'm going to keep repeating this till it gets through to everybody, Liverpool are building a squad to dominate domestic football in Europe and a squad that can compete across all competitions. Am I right or am I wrong? That ain't it, bro. That ain't it. That ain't that dream squad to compete against all competitions, to try to win them all. That ain't it. That is I couldn't be bothered. Fuck this cup. That's what that is to me. Ryan said, with this selection, they should refund the fans. Yep. Because like I said, I know so many people who were over there for that game, and a lot of them gone for their first game with their kids or their partners. And you would always expect a somewhat changed team, of course. You know, no one's going to sit here and say they expected our absolute best 11 out there. But to not even have that backup on the bench, it's nuts. It might be a long game today. We have 4 under-20s, an unfit Maka, a goalkeeper on his debut, 2 full-backs, centre-back, a 33-year-old CDM, and a Chiesa stranded up top. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And I really don't even understand the logic of playing Woodman in this, because does Georgie Mambadas really need a break from the 4 games or 5 games he's played for us since Allison's been injured? Again, this feels like another opportunity to keep playing Georgie and get him up to speed. It feels like an opportunity to keep playing Wirtz and get him up to speed. You know, Isak, fair enough. If his groin's still not right, maybe you don't have him in the squad. No way Ekitike shouldn't be in this squad. Rest Salah, rest Van Dijk, fair enough. Kanade should absolutely be told he's playing because he's been all over the shop. Gakpo, fair enough. Give Gakpo a rest. I don't think there'd be too many complaints about that. But it just keep coming back to the bench. No big hitters there to rescue us. Because this goes straight to penalties if it's a draw, remember, and there's no VAR tonight. Luke O'Riordan said, hey Craig, any bets on Chiesa hat-trick? I did stick a couple. I have Chiesa to score from outside the box because it was 14-1. So I stuck a tenner on that. And I think I've Rio Engamoa to score as part of an accumulator, but nothing big, like a tenner on it or something. So that's it. Because it's hard to put a bet on. We didn't get a clue really what you're going to be looking at team-wise. And I knew I wasn't going to be betting on a Liverpool win as the bet anyway, because, as I said, you don't know what type of team to expect. Malty said, sat at Anfield, disgusting team selection. Well, I'm really sorry, mate, that you've had to shell out your hard-earned to sit there and see that team announced out. Because if I was in your shoes and I travelled over from Ireland for the game and I got me hotel and I booked me flights and I, got me bus out to the hotel and gone to Anfield and then seen that team put out, I mean, I'd be sitting there head in hands as well going, what's the point? Padge said Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs all got 5-6 first teamers in tonight. We big guns on the bench. Why is Slot not put pressure on? Why is Slot put pressure on himself? On that, Padge, I'm going to quickly look through some of the other team selections tonight for the games and let's see what we have. Right, so let's have a look at the League Cup squads tonight and see who's gone with what. So let's look at Arsenal Brighton, another All Premier League game. Arsenal have Kepa in goal. Then they've got White, Mosquera, Nkapie and Lewis Skelly as the back four. Marino and Norgard in midfield. Wanyeri, Eze, Dauman and Andre Anus up top. And on the bench then Arsenal have Raya, Gabriel, Saka, Timber, Gyökeres, Trossard, Calafiori, Zubamendi and Rice. All on their bench. Basically their first 11. The team for Brighton, they have Steele in goal, then Kadioglu, Van Heck, Coppola and De Kuiper. Then in midfield they have Pascalgi, Baleba, Diego Gomez, Costelus, Chimas and Reuter. And then on their bench they have Welbeck, Dunk, Wiefer, Joe Knight, Tom Watson, Minta and a couple of other kids. So both of those have far stronger teams. And that's one other Premier League, all Premier League tie. Let's have a look at Man City's 11. So Man City have Trafford, Rico Lewis, Kusanov, Ake, Aitnuri, Nico Gonzalez, Oscar Bob, Makasa, Cherky, Doku and Marmouche. That's their 11. On the bench they have Stones, Gvardiol, Bettinelli, Donnarumma, Savinho, Nunes, or Mateus Nunes, Nico O'Reilly, Calvin Phillips and Phil Foden. So again, much stronger. And the last one we can look at, let's have a look at Newcastle Spurs and see what 11s they've gone with. So Newcastle have gone for Schär, Tonali, Barnes, Thiaw, Kraft, Alanga, Voltmada, Willock, Ramsdale, Byrne and Ramsey. Spurs have gone for Danzo, Polina, Xavi Simons, Richarlison, Lucas Bergveld, Brennan Johnson, Kinski, Bentancur, Sarr, Spence and Porro. It speaks for itself. Every other manager has put out a far, far stronger bench and team. But not our manager. No, the one that's actually under pressure has just said, deal with it. Yeah, not good enough. Luca, say, can you go through all of our injuries? Surely there's not that many slots putting out a team like this. Allison, maybe Jones, Frimpong, maybe Gravenberch, maybe Isak. I think that's it, unless I've missed somebody else. And even at that, there's a couple of maybes in there, right? Ken Gordon said, if I bought a ticket for this, I'd want my money back. Oscar World Soccer said, happy birthday to our amazing Oscar. Happy birthday, Oscar, from all of us. Happy birthday. Hope you have a good one, my friend. The legend said, I'm personally happy with the Arsenal lineup. Yeah, I just went through it, mate, and it's certainly, your best 11 is basically on the bench in case. And even at that, your starting 11 is a decent enough 11. Ming Ho said, hope he turns it around, but it begs the question, would Klopp have done more with that money? Love your videos, bro. Thank you, mate. Look, I have to say, I'm not going to be revisionist about the transfer window and say I'm anything other than happy with that. I was really happy with the transfer window. But I just keep coming back, mate, to that one phrase. We were supposed to have a team that can compete against all competitions without dropping off and being weak. And they pointed out the Plymouth Argyle game from last year as one where we had to make changes to rest players and we got out of that competition. Well, here we are, 450 million later, and that's what the manager's done. Not good enough. Just not good enough, Arna. I'm sorry, not good enough. Gary said Liverpool's problem is ego. Too much ego, zero effort. Certainly, I can't say if it's ego because, I'm not in that dressing room. But I can say it's not being good enough and the effort isn't what it should be. There's too much feeling sorry for ourselves there as well. Young lad said, hi Craig, not only has Slot misjudged this, he also was prepared to reward players with first team opportunities a la Chiesa if they put in performances this feels futile. He also isn't prepared to reward players. And I was mentioning that earlier on, young lad. Like, if Fede scores a hat-trick tonight, do you think he's in that team on Saturday? Not a hope. He'll be on the bench. If Rio Engamoa comes in tonight and has a worldie and turns their fullbacks inside out and scores a goal or two, think he's going to be on the starting 11 for the game against Villa? No, not a fucking chance. And again, so I agree with you, mate. And look, I can't tell you whether he's misjudged it or not, but certainly the reaction from fans is pretty clear so far. Coward move from Arna, going with a bad team, so when we lose it doesn't seem as bad. I see through it and it's pathetic. Sack him now, I'm sick. Look, if we don't win he has an excuse, you're right, but I'm not letting it wash as an excuse. Are you? Because it shouldn't be an excuse. The excuses ended in the summer when we spent all that money. So you can't tell us we're going to have this squad that can compete across all competitions and then not do it. Oscar, we did this one a moment ago again, but you've put it in again, so happy birthday once again, my friend. 6'3" centre back, put me in, coach. This is sad, said Elks. And look, the two left backs we have both in the team as well. Both of your starting left backs in the team. That makes loads of sense, Arna. Well done. George Holdsworth said, I think he's throwing to focus other comps. Only explanation with this selection, it's actually embarrassing. So even at that, right, let's look at the other comps. FA Cup, you don't know. Draw hasn't been made. Nobody can plan what happens there. Could get Arsenal away in the third round. Champions League, we'll get ourselves through to the knockout stages. I'm really confident in that. Premier League, we're up shit creek. So I don't see where he thinks all the other opportunities are going to come from. And I'm also not going to listen to him talk about tiredness when Arsenal, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Spurs all have European football and they've gone much stronger again. So why is it that our players are suddenly way more fatigued than their players who've actually been putting in shifts? It's just silly. David Massett, I said 2 or 3-0 tonight. Forget that. Ivan, how are we? Said, if there's something weird and don't look good, who are you going to call? Scousebusters? Well, there's fucking loads of them around, Ivan. I don't even have to call them at the minute. Just anyone who rocks up are Scousebusters so far, mate, over the last few games outside of Eintracht Frankfurt. Wow. Right, I'm going to concentrate on the regular chat for a minute because I've only been reading out members and super chats. And Andy, your one's next up, bro, so I will get to it. No accountability from a manager. I think he's waving a white flag, said JG. I remember when I used to look forward to these nights. No more, said Glyn Thomas. Stargirl said, Craig, if this was another team, he would have picked a better team, but he's scared of Palace, which worries me. I think he believes he can't win against them. I don't know what to say to that part because last season's results was a draw at Anfield and a win at Selhurst Park. So, you know, even Dan's is injured, Jordan, by the way. He's injured, mate, unfortunately. So, there shouldn't be fear. Like, what's the fear? You've spent £500 million. We're supposed to have a team full of here and now superstars. There shouldn't be any fear. It's crazy. Who's the game changer on the bench? Cade Gordon? Trent Cone-Doherty? That's about the best of it from a game-changing perspective. Yeah, that genuinely, mate, that's about the best of it. Craig, do you care about the Carabao Cup? I do, of course. It's a trophy. And you're one game away from the quarter-final. Of course. And you're at home as well. Look, it's not number one on my list of priorities, but it's a trophy. And in a season where, you know, we're underwhelming, it could be an avenue to take a bit of pressure off if you pick up a trophy. Now, if you picked up that trophy, when is the final? March, April? It's just a handy little confidence boost, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know, folks. I feel like I need to apologise to you because I know I'm being negative here, but I can't help it at the minute. Nurgle Paint said, we have to care about every game the way we're playing. Busy Media said, I'm just angry at the bench. Palace going strong today, said GSC 9671. So it's not just Palace going strong. And you know, people maybe joining us a little bit late, but we went through the other squads for Premier League clubs in the League Cup tonight, and it is by far and away us that has the weakest squad by a long, long, long way. And even if you're looking at the bench, as many people said, and I do of course understand that people are saying that's the bench they're most annoyed by. Because I get that. We're always expecting changes, but then you have the Enrique Iglesias cape wearers on the bench who come on to rescue you. But we don't have that now. He's fully just said, fuck it. Ace Banana said, Craig, you don't need to say sorry, mate. Read the room. We all feel the same. I know, dude. But like, it's supposed to be my job to try and keep spirits up. I'm always honest, but I do try. Like, I'm somebody who said week on week, please no moaning before we see what happens on the pitch. And tonight, I'm very much contradicting that same statement that I make every week, because I just don't see how there can be a positivity to what we're seeing here. But I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Andy said 3 years, man. Thank you, Andy. 3 years with us. And I just think, Andy, in that time, how much air conditioning has been used, Andy? 3 years, where's the time gone? Thank you for all the content and community you've created. Here's for another 3 years. Well, thank you, Andy, and yeah, here's for another 3 years, my friend. Will I share a picture of the update with the studio with you, or do you not want to see? Because if you don't want to see, it's fine. But I've got another update image for the studio, so if you want to see it, let me know and I'll throw it into the chat. Nick Kingdom said, hi Craig, you're looking well. Should have played the first 11 we normally see. This lineup screams accepting defeat without even kicking a ball. Disappointing. Love your show. Yeah, look, I can understand the 11, Nick, but not the bench. It's the bench that I think has a lot of us sussed. Right, so I'll show you this. Hopefully it drags in okay. Oh, they're always so big. That's not what she says, by the way. He says wishing it was. Right, sorry, I'm terrible. Connor's told me about 10 times how to get this sized up properly, and I never managed to do it. So there we go. We're nearly there. Bear with me. There we go. So that is where we're at so far, ladies and gentlemen, with the old Anfield Agenda office build. Sorry, yeah, that's where we're at so far. She's flying up now. So yeah, we hope we get her watertight in the next week or two, and then yeah, fingers crossed. So yeah, full new build. Like I said, we're not dicking about. We're going big. We're going to try to do it properly, and yeah, fingers crossed it continues to go well. But yeah, that's where we're at the minute anyway. So again, I want to just say thank you so much, because without your support and your help, this wouldn't be possible. So yeah, I can't wait to show you the finished version of it. But that's where we're currently at. Right, where are we going? Nick. So Keith said, I can't be bothered to watch with that team. I can understand the sentiment, but, of course I'm going to watch and still want the boys to win because the youngsters are out there, but I do understand your sentiment, mate. It's nonsense. Oh, here's Arna with the fucking excuses already. So Arna said this, and thank you, Keane, for sending me on the quote. People who know this club and follow this club know that we use this competition for the younger players, to give them a chance to play at Anfield. We also have 5 injuries, which hasn't helped. Playing the same players is a big risk. Nah, mate, you've bottled it, Arna. Don't give us your horse shit and think we're going to lap it up. That's nonsense. People who watch this competition, Arna, know one thing. We win it. That's what they know, bro. We win it. If I'm not mistaken, the most successful, or right up there as the most successful club in this competition. So to come out with that absolute poo-poo from Arna I'm sorry, man. I'm not having that. I'm not having it because he's wrong. Yes, you mix in some younger players, but you have a strong bench, Arna. And don't give us injuries as an excuse, because you got the fucking squad, mate, to not use injuries as an excuse. You choose. He's using injuries as an excuse, and he puts his 2 starting left backs in the fucking team. Make that make sense, Arna. What happens there if you pick up more injuries with your left backs, mate? What you gonna do then? I'm sick of his excuses at this point. Again, always back on us, isn't it? Always back on us. People who watch this team know. No, Arna, we know we win this competition, dude. That's what we know. We win it. Wasted to Goat 1 said, fans should be booing at that lineup around Anfield. At Red said, lost for words with that team selection, and I don't think you're on your own, sir. At Yoi14 said, getting rid of Lucho and not replacing him was one of, if not the biggest mistake this summer. So on the Lucho thing, it was we could have kept them, granted. But then your value is going down. So if Liverpool knew that there's no way there's a contract extension coming there for him, selling him was probably the only option. But not replacing him is a very fair point, because we were told that the minutes were going to go to Rio. But he's not getting the minutes. So once again, the manager has undermined himself, and more doublespeak, And I hate saying this. But I'm not gonna look at what he's saying here and not call it out, because it's absolute nonsense. Eddie said, damn Craig, you got over 5k people in the chat. You're a legend. Love you, bro. Mate, I'm honoured that people are here with us. I again apologise that I have to be or am this angry tonight. But look, we've at the weekend we 12k in during the game. Community's growing. We're really grateful for the support, but I can't comprehend this from the manager, man. I just can't. It just feels like it couldn't be arsed. Connor said this is probably our biggest pre-match numbers. And that tells you something, right? That tells you something. Like, if we're having this many people in before the game kicks off, and so far before the game kicks off, it's because every single one of them is pissed off. Every single one of them. They're in here pissed off, and rightly so. Slot has been at a loss with his selection, said the Bob Peterson. I don't think you're on your own, sir. I don't think you're on your own. Tony said, then we go strong for Saturday and still no reaction. Yeah, but the real thing, Tony, is, and this is what gets me, if these lads perform tonight, none of them, outside of one of the left backs maybe, will be in the starting 11 at the weekend. And that's what really winds me up. If Chiesa scores a hat-trick, he'll still be benched for Salah on Saturday. If Rio Ingamoa turns the full-back inside out, he'll still be benched at the weekend for Cody Gakpo. So it's not like these lads are getting the chance to step up. They're being thrown under the bus. Lolly, how are we, dude? Always lovely to see you. Hello, Craig. Best man of YouTube. Is Slot doing this on purpose? Is he just stubborn? Players get shitloads of money to work 5 hours a week. I can't believe this lineup. So there's so many things, Lolly, going through my mind, right? The rest excuse. Well, I'm sorry, but they don't need a rest. We are in October and the season started in August, and they've had the end of last season and the whole summer to rest and party and prepare. So what are we resting them for and from? And look at the other teams in the competition. Palace, much stronger. Arsenal, much stronger. Newcastle, stronger. Spurs, stronger. Brighton, stronger. And we're supposed to be the ones who've built the squad out to compete across all 4 competitions. And now all of a sudden it's revisionism time, where the manager's saying, anybody that knows anything about this club knows that this competition's for the younger players. Then stop lying to us. Then stop coming out in the summer with all the horse shit about this will allow Liverpool to dominate and compete across all competitions. And then when it comes time to eat the cake, there's no cake. There's no cake. Wesley said, we're putting out a League 2 squad. Pathetic. And by the way, I'm going to be very disappointed if that there's no cake thing isn't a gif or a little clip somewhere. You know, I need that shared, because that's like, come on, fat boy. Of course there's no cake. No cake for you. Wade Nelson said, we've put out the worst matchday squad out of all the teams today, and by a long, long way. But it's okay, though, because we've got 5 injuries, so that's an excuse for Arna to jib off the whole competition. Because nobody else has injuries in the league, just us. Andrew said, wait, there's no cake. Between me and you, Andrew, there's always cake. There's always cake, bro. See me after class. There's always cake, Andrew. Right, where are we at? USA Cop Bite, 26 months with us as well as a member, man. Always appreciate your support. And by the way, look at the sub numbers right now. It's daunting. It's 666 at the end of it, lad. Somebody sub or unsub quick, because 666. You can't be having 666 before this game. No. If you can, hit that subscribe button for me. Can't be having 355,666. That's stressing me out. Anyway, according to some pundits, it's not Arna's fault. He bought the wrong players. Congrats on the build. So I wouldn't sit here and say we've bought the wrong players, because I will say I really like the players we bought. No revisionism for me about the summer. Over the moon with it, love it, but not good enough. That we're in this position now where 5 injuries, and one of them to a keeper, by the way. So yeah, I'm not really having that either, Arna. One of them to a keeper, and then we've got Isak, and we've got, who was the other injury in midfield? Gravenberch. It's just excuse making. We should have easily 5 top players on that bench. Easily. Graham said, Craig, your anger is what all Liverpool fans are feeling, so let it rip. Slot is confusing everyone. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how other content creators are reacting to this team, because if they're not as annoyed as we are, then I'm sorry, they're part of the problem at this point. Because if they're trying to excuse this, I'm sorry, nah. With no standards, like none. And I don't mean the content creators, I mean with this team selection, no standards. Yeah, you know what I was doing there. You don't need me to tell you. Why is all the discussion about Jota's death as negatively impacting the team's performance? Why no mention of winning the league for his legacy? So, this is a very... I'm going to bring this up on screen, Michael, so people can read that out as well. And thank you for your super chat. It's a very difficult subject to discuss, isn't it? Because if you say it can't be used as an excuse, you come across as cold-hearted, right? But there is a lot of truth to what you've said. Because when we won the first 5 or 6 games, I don't remember hearing about excuses, right? Because we were winning. But as soon as we have a dip in form, the low-hanging fruit is picked. And like I've always said, to talk about Diogo's passing as not being a big thing would be false. To say that it maybe doesn't affect some players more than others would be false. But there are ways to counteract that. And as you've said, it could be equally as used as a motivation in his honour. But let's just remove it, one way or the other, from the conversation for now. Because we didn't talk about it in the first 6 games as something that was going to be negative. Let's not talk about it now. And my big point on this is, let's use Mo as an example. And I'm on the record multiple times as saying this. I am a human being, and if Mohamed Salah, just using him as an example here, if Mo says, look, Gaffer, I'm not right, hand on heart, no problem. Give him what he needs. Give him a rest. Give him therapy. Give him a break with his family. Give him whatever he needs. But we're not hearing that either. We're not hearing that. So all we know is that's the team. That's the team. That's all we know. And the rest, as you said, is just window dressing and excuse making. And I swear to God, as high a standard holder as I am for our players, if 3 of these lads, and I mean even pick Salah, Van Dijk, Ekiti, no, he wasn't around. So Salah, Van Dijk, Robertson. If all 3 of those had to take 3 months off because they were suffering, you wouldn't hear me moan about it once. I can say that from the bottom of my heart, because I'm a human being. But, you know, don't piss on my tent and tell me it's raining, Arna. You know, this is just nonsense what we're seeing. Craig, what if the coach isn't right when he's the only manager? He can't take a break, and people have complained. Of course he can take a break. It applies to him as well. If Arna's not right, the same thing applies to him. And I mean that sincerely. Of course. But again, why is it only the negative excuse? Like our friend said there a minute ago, why not use it as, you know, a way to honour the legacy? I don't even like bringing Diogo's passing into the conversation here. It's only come in because somebody made a valid point about it, but yeah, I don't know. The only upside of today might be this, as Jurgen Splurgen said, What if we get a 92nd minute winner from Gomez? I mean, we would love a Gomez goal today. That would be definitely an upside. Steen Christensen said, I want to see this team play. The A team is playing badly anyway. Excited. So, right, let's play this out, Steen. So this team plays tonight and loses. And then we go to Aston Villa and the same players underperform again. Where's the upside? Now, of course, we could play Aston Villa and win. But this now means one thing. That these guys against Aston Villa has to come out 100 miles an hour and they have fuck all excuses. Because what I've learned watching our team over the last few years is every time we have a prolonged break, we're worse. And then we hear about rhythm, right? How many times have we heard about it's important to keep people in rhythm? It's a narrative excuse. Whatever fits that narrative will be the excuse the manager trots out. So all the other teams tonight have European competition as well. Arsenal have it, Palace have it, Spurs have it. And we're the only ones that have gone weak this week. Andrew said 2 left backs at the same time. That's too risky. Yep, it is. What's first, your new studio or Chiesa Premier League start? I would much prefer it to be a Chiesa Premier League start, to be honest, because he deserves it. But look, we are where we are, folks. We'll find out over the next 2 hours and 10 minutes what's going to happen, because we are only 10 minutes away from kickoff. Usually this is the part where I say, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. But thankfully, we're already over 1,000 likes because you guys are awesome. So let me pitch it a different way. If you can, please do hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate your support. And of course, we're trying to keep pushing on. If you would like to submit your player ratings, by the way, for a player ratings video, do make sure that you're signed up to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp. Connor posts the link in there for the Google document that you can submit your player ratings on. We have a poll running in there at the minute as well. So if you do have a chance, scan that QR code and get yourselves over to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp. We're just about to hit 15,000 members in our WhatsApp community. Darren said, Slot should take all competitions seriously. Yes, sir. I agree, especially after the dough we spent. And especially after being told, Darren, that we were building a squad to dominate and compete across all competitions. That was the line, because we didn't want another Plymouth Argyle, right? We didn't want the Plymouth result happening again. Well, here we are, 1 season on, £500 million just underspent. And we've gone weaker than we've ever gone. Ever. And the manager says, but we've 5 injuries. Nah, sorry, bro. Not an excuse. The real Johnny Sin said, throwing away a trophy with such arrogance despite how awful we've been is a sackable offence for a manager of Liverpool. I'm on the ropes with Arna. So most common sense would dictate that if you're in a shitty run of form and you've got a chance to get a win, you get the win. You get the win, you build momentum, you build confidence. And look, there is a world where this team wins tonight. But here's the thing that I want to make really clear. I guarantee you, if this team wins tonight, it won't have any impact on his starting 11 at the weekend. I absolutely guarantee you that nobody would be rewarded tonight with a starting place at the weekend, outside of one of the left backs maybe. That'd be it. No periphery player is getting into that team on Saturday, no matter what they do tonight. They could beat Palace 9-0, and you're still not going to see Federico Chiesa and Rio Engamoa start of the weekend. Where else was I at? This one from Kubrel said, does our performances this season show how much we relied on Trent and Jota coupled with Salah not performing? I think there's a few things in there. So the Trent and Jota stuff, of course, the more than fair points. I throw in Diaz and Darwin. And what I mean by Diaz and Darwin is we all complained about Darwin's finishing, but nobody ever complained about his work rate or that he was a handful for defenders. So you've lost that tenacity and I guess sort of unpredictability as well up top with both of those two. And we haven't replaced it with a similar type of tenacity. So yeah, all that coupled in, yes, I do think it all plays in. Now, some of that was out of our control. Obviously, Jota's passing, out of our control. Trent leaving, club didn't make that decision, Trent did. And I'm not trying to rewrite history and say we shouldn't have sold Darwin, we should have, but we didn't replace that aggression up top, that press, that work rate with anything else. We upgraded a young player who the manager still won't play. Chiesa, who had no minutes last season really, is still not getting minutes this season. And then we've brought in Isak, who's not up to speed yet, and Ekitike, who's still finding his way, but has started really well. So, think our lineup against Southampton was stronger. Somebody said that earlier on, Charlie. And Sam said, funny how we didn't go this week last season. Exactly. But now all of a sudden, again, to give you his quote, people who know this club and follow this club know that we use this competition for the younger players to give them a chance to play at Anfield. Yes, Arna, but we also have a strong bench, don't we, Arna? So as if these youngsters are a little bit overwhelmed and it isn't going right, we still have the ability to rescue the game from the bench. But you haven't done that tonight, Arna, have you? No, you haven't, sir. You've absolutely just stitched everybody up that's paid the hard-earned money to go to this game, and it's not good enough. John Doyle said, Jesus, I wonder how much a match ticket was to go and see this lineup. I'm guessing 60 quid, 58, 60 quid, unless they've dropped it down for the League Cup, I don't know. But on top of that, John, so many people, this is their chance to get to a game, right? Because you can't get into League Cup, league games, because you just can't get the credit. So unless you're lucky in the ballot, the odds are you're not getting to a league game. So the Auto Cup scheme or a League Cup game at home is your chance. So you've booked the flights, you've booked the hotel, you've brought the two kids and the missus over, or the missus has brought you and the kids over, and you're over there and you're sitting at Anfield and you're trying to sell Liverpool to your kid. You're trying to indoctrinate your children, let's be honest, indoctrination is probably the right word, into the Liverpool way and tell them how great this club is and how amazing Anfield is, and then they see an underperforming group of hodgepodge of players out there, and they're like, I don't want to go again, Daddy. I don't see the appeal. It's just there's so many things I could say that this just stinks for. So many different reasons. You could talk about disrespecting the competition. You could talk about taking the piss out of the match going. Fans that have paid their money to get there. Throwing the younger players under a bus. I mean, there's just so much shit that's just wrong with this selection. Has said, Craig, cup run was good while it lasted. Look, we're not out of it yet. We're not out of it yet, but he's not making it easy to get behind him at this point. Gary Weiss said, does he not remember you of FSG full of lies and excuses? Does he not remind you? Sorry, Gary, I completely messed that up, mate. Missed it up. I can't do the wordies. Does he not remind you of FSG full of lies and excuses? So, I always say, Gary, managers lie to the camera every week. And some people take everything a manager says as gospel. And that naivety always concerns me because sometimes your manager has to lie. And sometimes lying is understandable. But you don't get to spend the money we did, build the squad we did, tell us that it was to be competitive across all competitions, and then do this. You don't get to do that. Because it's just wrong. Right, anyway, we're 4 minutes away. Teams are coming out onto the pitch now. So let me fly through these. John Erdinger said, Craig, you know I'm not an expert and been fan 67 years, but this is looking like Slot is not up for his job. Can you give a shout out to the Toronto Blue Jays? Good luck in the World Series. I'd seen that they went 2-1 down the other night against Dodgers. It went on really, really late. I was flicking through the channels and I was at the 12th inning, I think, at that point. So yeah, best of luck to the Blue Jays. We've my wife has family over in Toronto, so yeah, definitely right behind you there, John, and thank you. LFC Pranav said, just for context, Palace played the same team last midweek in the Conference League and again at the weekend, but they don't need a rest. Exactly, bro. Exactly. And thanks for looking into that and coming up at that point, Pranav, as well as 53 months as a member, dude. Really, really appreciate your support. Tipsy Dipsy said, it's awful how I'm expecting us to lose. I hate it. Leo Rourke said, fellow Irishman and United fan here, really enjoying this. As a United fan there, I'd say you are all right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just frustrated. But Lee, thank you, man. Appreciate you being in. Old Gamer 53 said, evening. All these job is too big for him, and I think he is struggling. So FSG, do him and all of us and replace him. I wonder what it would take to get to that point, because I think he's getting the season no matter what, personally. And I don't agree with that, by the way, but I think that's probably the case. Russ said, sick of excuses now, Slot is delusional. Thank you, Russ, for 32 months with us as well. Peter said, Slot isn't the guy for me. Love your work, Craig. Thank you so much, Peter. Much love to you in New Zealand, sir. Will Coleman said, just in, Craig, my God, what a strange 11. The 11, I think some of us could live with, Will, but it's the bench, bro. It's the bench that just stinks to high heaven. It's just no care for the competition. Colzer, do you think he's trying a 3-4-3 system with Robbo, Endo and Gomez at the back? Not sure, but if he is trying the system, Colzer, right, let's play this out. If he is trying the system, what benefit is it going to be? Because the players playing in the system won't be playing in the system in the future because it's younger players. So he's not even like he's playing... He's not like he's experimenting with first-team players in a game that he has a bit of wiggle room in. So, no, I don't even think it could be that, mate. Amash said, these kids should be getting ready for bed, not playing this late. That said, will you take your shirt off now and show us your body tats if we win? I don't have body tats. I have tits. But no tats, just the sleeves on the arm, mate. But, yeah, I can't imagine I'll be getting the top off if we win, bro. Right, look, ladies and gents, again, sit back, relax. I'll do my best to take you through the game. We do have to have a resolution in this tonight. It'll be straight to penalty kicks at the end of 90 if it's still level. No VAR as well. It's important we point that out. Steen Christensen said, the upside is that the young players get to try their hand if we lose. We get an experience. The team would probably have lost and their self-confidence would have dropped even more, but I agree with you. Thank you, Steve. This lineup is ridiculous, especially in your current form. I hope your final show went well. Oh, it went really well. Thank you. It was lovely, and everyone was so kind. So thank you on that one. Thoughts on the Aspinall eye poke? I'm not a huge follower of MMA, so I didn't watch the event. I'd heard about it. I was watching the boxing that night, actually. I was watching Wardley pull out an absolutely remarkable victory over... Who was he fighting again? Parker. Sorry, Joe Parker. Yeah, I was watching that at the weekend. And what a fight, by the way. Fair play to Wardley. Right, we're underway. My clock didn't turn on. Connor, the clock's not working. Why is my clock not working? Shit, let's go the old-fashioned way. Let me just fix this clock. Wait, let's do this up a few seconds. Right, we'll pause that. I'm going to pause it up to 40 seconds and then I'll play it, so bear with me. When it gets to 41, I'll play it on. Free kick already here, by the way. Palace player down. Sorry, my stream deck didn't work, so I'm going to have to go the old-fashioned route. 6, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41. There we go. Right, cool. Now, there we go. That clock's right now. Apologies on that one. I'll sync up at 1 minute, but we already have a break in play as Palace players down. Right, we are now at 1 minute. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. No, there's no VAR, Lee Jericho. No VAR in the early rounds of the League Cup. I think the rule is, and I might be wrong on this, it's either it's at the semi-final stage or it's when there's all Premier League teams left. It's one of those two. I can't remember. I'm watching it on Sky Sports Premier League, for those asking. Right, we're back underway. Liverpool in possession. Endo to Gomez. Out left side to Kirkes, back to Andy Robertson. So even you'd be delighted to know that even with the new change in personnel, they've still mastered the side-to-side across the back. Endo. Again, still moving across the back line. Gomez takes a heavy touch, trips over the football a little bit, and then Robertson almost runs into a Palace player, but comes away with it. Right, Liverpool right-hand side. Cuts in field. Ball to McAllister. He goes across to Andy Robertson on this near side. Kirkes. Rio. Rio cuts inside. Little 1-2. Referee gets in the way. Cheers there, Mr. Referee. Ball cleared by Palace. Liverpool throw in. Near side. It's taken quickly. It's back with McAllister. Joe Gomez. By the way, ladies and gents, if you can do me a favour, do please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the stream. It's a pleasure to have you all with us. Again, Liverpool still in possession. I don't think if Palace have really touched the ball yet. Ball over the top in there, looking for a run in behind. It's put behind by Crystal Palace for a Liverpool corner. Lacroix heads it behind there, give Liverpool a corner on the far side of the pitch. So for those asking, I have it on Sky Sports Premier League is the channel that I have it on. Right, so Maka going across to take the corner, far side of the pitch. Robbo's up, Neoni's up, Gomez is up, Endo, Chiesa all hanging around the edge of the 18-yard box. Here comes the signal from Maka. Ball in, it's an outswinger. Doesn't even beat the first man. Once again, cleared by Palace. Back to McAllister now. Second ball in, too close to the keeper who comes and claims it. So yeah, corner doesn't beat the first man. That's headed away. Second ball in, too close to the keeper. And Crystal Palace playing it out now from the back. Throw in Palace. Kirkes thought it was a Liverpool ball. Tried to get on with it quickly. Referee says no dice. Throw into Palace. It's funny looking around the crowd there. There's a lot of, shall we say, unhappy faces in the crowd. And we've got messages from some people that are at the game tonight saying, again, the vibe inside there is surprise and frustration at the starting 11. Do feel free, by the way, to keep us up to date, and I'll try to keep you up to date as well with what is going on in the other games. Chiesa is certainly through the middle anyway, with Neoni in behind, Rio and Gamoa on the left. Kirkes. Back to Neoni. Liverpool have it. Wide right. With Ramsey. Morrison. Back to Calvin Ramsey. He cuts inside. Tries a deep ball towards Ngamoa. It's headed away. Liverpool have the second ball now. With Milos Kirkes. Inside to Alexis McAllister. Back out wide left to Rio. Rio cuts inside, dispossessed, but we win the second ball with Maka. Kirkes. Robbo now. Joe Gomez. Looking like we're playing with a back three, all right. Yeah, feel comfortable enough to say we're playing with a back three. Rio, he's brought down, free kick Liverpool. Telecont here said Reds to win because it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, my friend. Many happy returns to you. I hope you're having a good day. And fingers crossed we can get that win for you. Right, Liverpool have won it back. Ball out to Rio. Go on, Rio. Have a run. Go on, Rio. Rio, strike, blocked by the defender's legs. Second ball now. Breaks to Milos Kirkes. Kirkes fires in across. Deep. Oh, unlucky. Morrison gets on the end of it, but can't direct it goalwards. But good play. Good play. Have to say, so far, not too bad. Not too bad, you have to say. The lads that are out there, they've started the game better than probably the first team lads have recently. And unlucky there. That ball came out to Kirkes, like I said. He plays it in. Morrison, he wanted it as well at the far post. Just can't direct the header goalwards. But again, bright start from the youngsters. Chelsea 1-0 up against Wolves, by the way, on that one. Thank you for the update. I don't know. I like the press and quick movement. Yeah, look, Adam, like I'm trying to say, decent start, no doubt about that. We really have, we really have dominated territory and possession in the opening exchanges. But we know Palace have the ability to counter quickly and soak up pressure. But again, that being said, we have started brightly. Gaz said, my friend David died and was a huge Liverpool fan. I'm so sorry for his passing, man. Sending love to you, Gaz. Yeah, man, it's unfortunately that time of the year where you seem to hear about a lot of people passing away, and condolences to the family of your friend and of course to yourself, Gaz. Suleiman said, went to the Fabio fight, floor side, what a scrap. Oh, nice. I was at a ringside fight myself recently. Myself and the missus went up to Dublin to watch Mick fighting, and that was brilliant. But I can only imagine Mick Conlan's fight was great. But I can only imagine what it was like to be floor side for that one, because wow, what a scrap it was. Like you said, really thoroughly enjoyed it, every minute of it. Yeah, I expected Parker to win, but fair play to Wardley. Deserves all the plaudits. Leone now to Ramsey. Ramsey back out to Leone. He's stretching a little bit. He's dispossessed. Palace have the ball now. Cross in, headed away by Gomez. Well done, Joe. Rio now tries to counter attack. Not got much support with him, and plays an awful pass to the Crystal Palace left back. Ricochets off him and goes out for a Liverpool throw in. I'm very jealous, Suleiman, that you were at that fight, because I was thinking of going over to it. Wouldn't have gone ringside now. Wouldn't have been lucky enough to get those probably. But we were playing same day, and it meant I couldn't go over, but I would have loved to. It was in the O2 as well, if I remember right. Fredswell said, love the streams, Craig. I've looked all over Sky and can't find the game anywhere. Which channel's it on? Sky Sports Premier League. It's number, if you're on the Sky platform, 402. And thank you for the kind words as well. So Macca now on a yellow for a really stupid, clumsy challenge. And already one of our midfielders on the yellow 10 minutes into the game. Batu, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And by the way, I missed somebody who gifted memberships earlier on. So I apologise on that. I meant to call it out at the time. Maybe it was Batu, but thank you to those people who've gifted memberships, and well done to everyone who's got one. Right, ladies and gents, free kick Palace. Too far out for a shot, so you would imagine it's a crossing opportunity. Robertson, obviously our captain tonight. Gomez trying to marshal that defence there. He's setting the defensive line. Right, here comes the delivery. Be a left-footed delivery coming in from Crystal Palace. They've gone diagonal towards the far post. Second ball headed across, and it's hooked away by, I think, Calvin Ramsey. Well done, Calvin. Will Hughes picks up the second ball for Palace. They have it wide left. Again, ball play back in field by Palace to Munoz. Liverpool with everybody bar Rio back behind the ball. Rio's the only advanced player, and he's trying to press, but he's trying to do it single-handedly. Will said, honestly, just play Rio every week. He's exciting. He definitely is, man. There's no doubt in any of our minds, like, what a star we have in young Rio in the making. And, we expected him to play tonight. We expected Chiesa to play tonight, but it's, whether you're happy enough with the 11 or not, it's the bench, I think, that disappoints so many of us. Palace, again, going in over Calvin Ramsey's head. He does well. Well done, Calvin. Better. See? Full back there, not vacating his space and able to get back and head the ball back to Woodman. Well done. Well done, Calvin. First appearance for him for the senior team in 3 years, by the way, Calvin Ramsey. Right, we've turned over possession now. Palace have it now. Well done. Endo and Gomez managed to block that one, and hopefully we clear our lines here. But again, sloppiness from the back gave the ball away, but fair play to Endo and Joe Gomez for winning it back. Mark said no yellow to Maka. Oh, was there not a yellow? So I'd missed it, and someone said yellow to Maka, and I assumed it was. So thank you for clearing up that one, Mark. Let me just triple check that, just to make sure. Yep, you're right, Mark. Thank you for that, bro. No yellow, just to confirm that one. Swansea are 1-0 up against City, and Chelsea are 1-0 up against Wolves. Liverpool now on the attack with Milos Kerkez. Out to Rio Ngamoa. Rio. Back to Robertson. Maka. Andy Robertson. Look at the far side. Look at the far side, lads. Gomez to Endo. So Franco with that goal to put Swansea 1-0 up against City. Endo. Back to Joe Gomez. Gomez. He goes diagonal, looking for the run of Fede. Palace win that and the second ball. Munoz carries it out of defence for Palace. Keeps it in play, but Liverpool have it now. Neoni inside to Maka. Oh, Maka, why are we slowing it down, dude? Jesus Christ. That's it. Just turn around a few more times there, Maka. No rush. No rush, bro. Kerkez. To Rio. Rio tries to go around the outside. They double up on him. Pulls it back, though, to Neoni. Neoni spreads it across to Endo. Endo to Ramsey. Nice touch from him. Brings him inside. Neoni. Cross to Kerkez. Chelsea 2-0 up now, chat are saying. Thank you. 2-0 to Chelsea. Misplaced ball forward there allows Crystal Palace to win it back. And then Liverpool win it back. Well done, Joe Gomez. Robbo. That's a snidey little challenge, that referee. Plays an advantage, though. Well done. Liverpool in possession with Rio Ngamoa left side. Cuts inside. Shot from Rio. Ooh! Unlucky, Rio. Better. So Rio picks up the ball. Couple of step overs. Cuts inside into his right foot. He hits a shot, and I think it's gone way wide at first, but it seems to have a lot of whip on it, and it just fades away at the end. Close, but better. Good stuff, Rio. Picks up very wide, couple of step overs, cuts inside. Doesn't look like it's too far away, you know. Unlucky. Kerkez, his clearance goes straight to Will Hughes. Hughes now. Palace have, I think, with Kamada, centre of the pitch. Munoz. Palace having a bit of possession now. Still not really gone anywhere with it. They're just knocking the ball around. Just inside our half left-hand side. Munoz. Again, same stuff. Palace, they're inching their way forward here, but Liverpool have everybody back behind the ball now. Ball into the right channel, our right channel, Nketiah. Cross, blocked, corner, Crystal Palace. Good block, though. More of this. Decent start from the young lads. Right. Let's hope we defend this corner. Crystal Palace have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in and around the 18-yard box, a couple on the edge. Corner's in, it's deep. Well defended. Goal kick, surely, yes. Goal kick. Munoz feels it should have been a corner, but Kirkes did well. Just did enough there to put him off. Lacroix was coming around at the far post. I thought it was Munoz, excuse me. It's Lacroix at the far post, and Kirkes just does enough. I think it might have come off Kirkes, in all honesty. Batu, how are we, sir? The younger players seem to have more drive and hunger to win these games. Great for the young lads, disappointed for the senior players. Yeah, they've not started half badly, mate. No doubt about that. Certainly putting in a shift out there. Oh, that's, yeah, a bit of a late one there from Calvin Ramsey. The referee's letting a bit go here today, because that could very easily have been a yellow. So the good news is we've gone 18 and a half minutes without conceding. That's the good news. So we're already up on the senior team. Palace try a through ball. There's too much on it and it goes straight through to Freddie Woodman. No VAR tonight, that's correct. The official ranking, no VAR. Ball forward. Second ball's won by Palace. Handball against Andy Robertson. It'd be a free kick to Palace about 10 yards inside their half, which they get on with quickly. Will Hughes now. Centre of the park. Again, Palace just knocking the ball around side to side. Liverpool, everybody back behind the ball. Not really much of a press, though. He can't be pressing on his own. If Chiesa starts to press and we need to be hunting in packs. Endo, good press from him higher up the pitch. Palace tried to exploit a bit of space left in behind. Gomez should win this little duel. No, he doesn't. Second ball's won by Ramsey, who plays it out off a Palace player. Well done, Calvin. Damas said, Craig, would you take Jean-Philippe Mateta at Liverpool? I wouldn't, no. Not that I've anything against Mateta. I'm very happy with the centre forwards that we do have. We just need to get Isak up to speed. So obviously it's 20-minute mark where the fans are on their feet applauding Diogo and Andre. Munoz, again back. Press comes on from Fede. Go on, Fede, unlucky fella. Palace go back to Benitez. There's that. Go on, Rio. Press, lads. That's it. That's better. Now, Palace have played around the press, but the press was at least there. Palace now in the right channel. Robertson trying to get back. Cross in. Well defended Joe Gomez. Second ball, though, into the box. Palace have it. That's better, though. That press was way better. At least it forced Palace to play around the press. Cross in. It's blocked again. Palace have it in the wide area once again. Good challenge from Trey Neone. Ramsey now in possession to Neone. They've played themselves into a bit of trouble here, but it's okay because Endo's there to mop it up. Well done, Endo. Right, boys, come on. Now, here we go. At speed. At speed. Right, Macca, head up. Head up. Into Rio. Rio cuts in field. Nobody there for him. He plays a through ball, but there's nobody there. No options for him. Right, ladies and gents, if you can, do hit that subscribe button for me. We are only 229 away from 356,000. Thank you so much for your support. Still scoreless here. Almost a quarter of the game gone. Ball over the top, though, gives Chiesa something to chase. Go on, Fede. Oh, Fede, you should have scored that, bro. That should have been 1-0. Ball over the top. He initially loses the first battle. Then there's a bit of a ricochet and he gets lucky and it drops to him and he should be tucking this away. Let's have a look. So ball bounces, gets a touch. The defender gets back at him. Then Chiesa uses his power to get the defender out of the way and just can't keep the shot down. I wish he could have had that one again. We've got a player down though. Who is it that's down? Rio. He's back up on his feet. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, Chiesa will be wishing he could have had that one again. Just didn't see it right from. Rio was down, but he's back up. Can't really see what happened, though. So, yeah, he takes the first touch, gets across to the defender. Yeah, he's just... The ball sits up as he hits it, and he kind of hits it off the lower part of his shin more than anything. He used great power to get past the defender and brush him off the ball, but, yeah, the finish wasn't great. Cal FC fan, or Liverpool fan. So personally, I'd give Ireland the rest of the season to get things sorted out. If not, we'd had all the incomings and the tragic passing of Diogo. I'd be too much worried. What do you think of this community? I don't think we can flatly say we'd give him to the end of the season, because I do think in any of these conversations, bro, context is important. If it's inconsistent, some wins, some losses, up and down, okay. But if the losses continue, I don't have that much patience, to be honest. If we lose 2 of the next 3 games after this, because this one was always going to be, a hit or miss. If we lose 2 out of the Aston Villa, Real Madrid, Man City games, I'm worrying from at that point. And depending on which run of games we lose in, if we lost the 2 league games, I'd be saying he's got to go. Andy said, I'm fully behind Slot Craig. Look, make no mistake, Andy. We all want him to succeed. There's not a Liverpool fan that wants failure. And I applaud you for being fully behind the manager. But that can't be... there has to be a reason that we stay behind the manager, mate. And there has to be signs that it's working out. And... this team selection tonight and the way he's gone to this competition is a piss take. For me, Andy, it's a piss take. It's not good enough, not strong enough. It's just so far off it that he's almost feeling like he's thrown away this when... look, I hope you're right. And at this moment in time, I haven't given up on the manager yet. But I won't lie and say that I've got never-ending patience. I don't. Results have to change. Batu said, I hope Salah and VVD are watching and perform ASAP. Same, mate. We need our standard bearers to set the tone and step up. Craig, please give a shout out to Costa Rica Liverpool supporters. Of course, my absolute pleasure. Everybody in Costa Rica watching Liverpool and maybe watching us, welcome and thank you for being with us and thank you for picking the right club as well. Much love to you all over in Costa Rica. And no, Rio didn't come off, by the way. Rio didn't come off. For somebody asked me that in the chat. The Littles said, nice to see the young lads showing the first team how it's done. Well, they've managed to go 26, 27 minutes without conceding yet, so yes. We've got Chile in the house as well. How are we? all the way over in Chile. Lovely to see you, mate. Aki Pull-Up. Excuse my pronunciations there. Some of the usernames are difficult. But yeah, much love to you over in Chile, bro. Welcome in. One sec, Andy. I'll get to your comment just here. Rio's on the ball now into the box. Ball into Chiesa. Chiesa ball across. Keeper makes save with his feet. Andy, where's your comment again? Craig, I've been watching, subscribing, and loving since Barcelona match, but you have to admit you are impatient. I remember you were losing patience with Klopp at times. You've never, ever, ever seen me call for Jurgen Klopp to be sacked or anything close to it. Of course, I am impatient. I'll be the very first person to say that to you, mate. Patience is not something I'm blessed with. But I am an understanding fan. And Andy, what I'd say to you is there isn't an excuse for Arnott to have these losses in a row like he's had. None. It's not acceptable at any point, mate. If this was a club, as Carragher said, if Brentford had lost 4 league games in the trot, their manager would be under pressure. The standards at Liverpool will have to mean something. And I haven't given up on the manager, but like I said, Andy, I'm being honest. I only have so much patience for him because there are things he could be doing to negate what we're seeing, and he isn't. So again, appreciate the interaction. We don't always have to agree, Andy. That's cool. And I think, if I remember correctly, Andy, a lot of my frustrations with Klopp was his insistence that we didn't need signings. Um, even at times where at the end of the window, then he changed his mind and we ended up with Arthur Mello coming in, stuff like that. But in my 8 years making content, I've never, ever said I want a manager fired. It's not been words that have come out of my mouth. Now, I'm not saying that you said I said that, but I'm saying it does take a lot for me to get to that point, even for my impatience. It takes a lot for me to get to the point where I'm saying, nah, I've seen enough. Do I play FC26? I don't, mate. I don't know. I tried. I tried to do a few streams of FIFA a few years ago, but I don't know. The game just winds me up. You said you want FSG out, right? And what's that got to do with the manager? If you've got a point to make, or like you said, I want FSG out. I did say that, absolutely, 100%, and I wear that and I own it. But I also said, if they spend this summer, you won't hear me moaning about them. And have you heard me moaning about them since? And to be fair, you say like I was FSG out, like I was the only Liverpool fan in existence that was unhappy with the lack of support for managers in the transfer market. But I do think always any opinion is fluid, right? So you can't just have an opinion once and then run with that opinion for the rest of your life. If you see changes and you see improvements or you see things being done differently, I think if you're being sincere about it, you have to make acknowledgements of those changes as well. Like Curtis Jones is a great example. I was very much somebody who believed Jones is nowhere near it. And then he changed when Arna came in and he's progressed. So like anybody else, I do have evolving opinions. Right, Robbo with a free kick here. Ball in deep. Too close to the keeper. Andrew McDonald said, if Slot is sacked, who would your candidates be? I haven't given it much thought at all, Andrew, because I really don't think, despite what I say or how I feel, I can't see a time he gets sacked this season, full stop. Like, genuinely, anybody who says he'll get the season, I think they're probably right. Who would be? I mean, you throw Iriola's name in the mix, but I'd also say to you, Andrew, in the next sentence, that's still a risk because it's a huge step up. You've got the obvious, can you lure Klopp back? But I don't know if that's the right decision. Yeah, I don't know, Andrew. I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer, dude. I'm being honest, though. I'd have to wait till it happened and then think about it. Right, long throw in coming here from Palace. Well done. Much better. Andy Robertson defends that one. First to it. Palace do well, though, with the second ball. Cross in. Well done, Woodman. Hooked away. Well done. Leading a bit of a charmed life, our goal at the minute here, but still we're holding firm. Gomez now. Palace have it again. Second ball. Cross in. Well done again, Joe Gomez. Chiesa heads it down to Rio. Right, boys, come on. Into the channel, Rio. Head up. Head up. Good. Kirkes. Chiesa. Back to Rio. Maka. See, one thing I would say, right? So, we're all saying the young lads are doing well, and I'm not disagreeing, by the way. But let's not forget, let's look at Palace's bench. And if they want to try to change it and win it late, they have better options on the bench, like Mateta, Mitchell. So they have options off their bench that we just don't have tonight, unfortunately. Ball into the right channel. Keep it in. Keep it in. Well done. Head up. Head up. Can't pick Morrison. Can't pick out a Liverpool player. Nah, ref. That's not a free kick, mate. The real Johnny Sin said, Maresca on thin ice. Iriola lined up for Chelsea. It says Indy Kayla. He's also been, and I don't know if it's changed here, but he was also being looked at by Juventus because they've recently sacked their coach as well. And by the way, why, like, Maresca's on thin ice, but, you know, nothing on Arna. It's gas. The levels and the standards of other clubs seem to be held higher than we seem to just make excuses for our failures. Robbo hooks it away. Batu said, when circumstances change, opinions change. It's natural. Don't you guys act like it's great to be stubborn all the time. Behind you, Craig, mate. Thank you. Yeah, people love to throw that, mate. Well, you said that this person was this. Well, yeah, I did. But can I not change that opinion? You know? My counter-argument to that, Batu, was always, if I refuse to change my stance, then I have an agenda. But, you know, I am allowed to change my opinion. And as you said, everyone's opinion. As an example, I didn't love my wife the first second I met her. It took me 2 years before I looked at my wife in a romantic way. And that's from knowing her for 2 years. So, like I said, you know, opinions change and evolve. Gary Mackay said, playing a young team is great, but having no experience, a lot of unwanted pressure on them can ruin a player for a long time. Exactly. You want that mixture, don't you, Gary? No problem, as you said, playing a young team. But you do want to have some people on the bench that can rescue it if needs be. Because you don't want confidence of these youngsters being knocked. But in another way, they are getting the experience of a big game in front of a packed Anfield. And so far, let's give them credit, 35 minutes in, you know, they're matching their opponents here. Right, corner to Palace. Kamada to Hughes. Second ball back is very high and deep. See it out, Maka. Well, eventually he plays it out off a Palace player, Liverpool goal kick. Right, 35, heading towards 36 minutes on the clock. Still Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 0. Do we have any senior lads on the bench? No. Let me read you through the bench, just in case you haven't seen it. I'm doing it on my phone, actually, because it's easier to see. Your Liverpool bench today is Pecci, Gordon, Cone Doherty, Pinnington, Figueroa, Nallo, Pilling, Lucky, Laffy. That's the bench. So, no. Brian, thank you, bro, for gifting 50 memberships. Absolute legend as always, sir. Anybody who came to our last live show also got to meet Brian. He introduced me on stage, which was a pleasure. Header there from Crystal Palace, which didn't really trouble Freddie Woodman. It was Sarr with the header. So Palace worked it out wide right. Played in the ball towards penalty spot, headed straight, well, pretty much straight at Freddie Woodman. Never going to beat him from there. Right, come on, boys. Morrison to the right. Nope, wrong decision. Won it back though. Well done, young man. Tries to strike, it's blocked. Unlucky. Good tenacity though from Morrison. Gomez. Palace have it now. Liverpool should have enough bodies back here. Palace forced wide right with Munoz. Liverpool have everyone back now behind the ball, and Crystal Palace have had to recycle it back to the halfway line. Ball through to Woodman. And again, cheers, Brian, man, for all those gifted memberships. I know they're greatly appreciated by people. 7 minutes to go to half time. Still scoreless at Anfield. Neone. Out right side. Nothing on there. Back to Gomez. Maka. Woodman. Press comes on him. Another left-footed goalkeeper. His ball, though, was straight to a Crystal Palace player. Palace trying to buy a free kick there. Referee having none of it. And it goes out for a Liverpool throw-in. Well done, referee. Stupid question. What are those memberships and how do they work? So membership gives you access to a few bits and pieces like emojis that we use on the channel. Occasionally we put out member-only content. Basically, it's just people really supporting the channel more than anything. Which and also your name appears in green to me and other users, so it makes it easier to spot your comments, and you get badges the longer you're with us. Stuff like that, really. So Man City 1-1. People are saying City have equalised in their game. Neone across to Andy Robertson. Out left side to Milos Kerkez. Kerkez, ball into Chiesa, little flick back onto Kerkez. His touch, though, takes him straight into Crystal Palace players. Get back, Milos. Look, he's jogging back. Get the fuck back, bro. Run. One 0 Palace. 1-0 Palace. Second ball again. Ball's played in. Messed first clearance. Drops the Sar and Palace are 1-0 up. Fuck's sake. Nothing Woodman could do about that. It's a good finish from Sar, but again, I'll talk you through it. No pressure on him. Look, nobody within 10 yards. Ball in. Ball comes off Gomez. Drops to Sar, who scores. Gomez is battling with Munoz. Ball hits his leg. Rolls into the path of Sar. Sar scores. But look at that. Zero fucking pressure. Is it Kamada in midfield? Zero pressure. Nobody within 10 yards of him. Ball in. Munoz takes a heavy touch. Then Gomez passes it to Sar. And Sar scores. And it's 1-0 Crystal Palace. I promise you, that was such a nothing chance. There's a nothing ball in that should have easily been defended. I don't even know what to say. Because who do you get angry at now? You know, who do you get angry at? The players who aren't playing regularly, who aren't in the rhythm anyway? I don't even know who to shout at. Sixth thread to Craig is a throwaway game. Not when you're in a run of results like we are. You don't have the luxury of throwaway games for me, bro. And that's it. Not when you've lost 5 out of 6. You don't have the luxury of throwaway games. It's one round from the quarter final. Been playing better than the first team. Still losing. But Arna's smiling though. It's all right. Arna's on the sideline smiling, so it's all right though. You know, because he's smiling. Gomez, lovely assist from Joe Gomez for Sarr, by the way. Ball came to Munoz. He miscontrolled it. Then Joe said, "Don't worry, I'll do it for you." So he passes the ball to Sarr, and then Sarr scores 1-0 down. Batu said, "I swear Kirkes might be our worst left back. I mean, ever." Oh, another ball straight through the middle. And we are probably fortunate not to give away a penalty there as well, as the Palace player went to ground in the penalty area, but ref's not having it. Ball in. Gomez swinging a miss there. Joe swinging at thin air with that right boot. Liverpool throw in far side. Again, just us giving the ball away. I want to rewind that because I want to see who I'm getting angry at here, but 1 second. Oh yeah, Gomez again. Centre of the park. I don't even know what he's trying to do, but he passed it straight to a Palace player. Joe Gomez again. And by the way, that's our only backup centre back. And he's set Palace's goal up and gave the ball away in midfield for them already. And that's our only backup centre back. Thank God we assembled that squad that can compete across all competitions and not have a Plymouth Argyle moment again. Thank God we did that in the summer. It was Kirkes. What was Kirkes? Nothing I said there involved Milos Kirkes. Kirkes lost his man, didn't mark him for the goal from Sarr, but Joe Gomez passed the ball to Sarr, and then 5 minutes later, Joe Gomez in the centre of the park passes the ball. Palace open us up again with Sarr. 2-0. 2-0. Sarr again. 2-fucking-0. Yeah, you're not fucking smiling now, are you? Fuck's sake. One ball through the middle, little flick, and we're opened up. Good play from a Palace perspective, by the way. Nice few touches there from Crystal Palace, but look at us. No pressure, standing around looking at them as they pass through us, and then good finish from Sarr. Yep. It's great. This is fucking great. 2-0 down, a half time, in the rain, with no chance to change it from the bench. And it will be 6 losses from 7 if this continues. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. And by the way, I love you all dearly, but please don't tell me this is a throwaway competition or it doesn't matter. It's Liverpool Football Club. Standards have to mean something. The name has to mean something. The shirt has to mean something. It's I, I don't want to give out to the young players. It's not their fault. It's on the manager. I said it before the game. I'm going to say it again now. It's on Arne Slot. He took the piss out of the competition, and now we're having the piss taken out of us. And it's unfair. It's unfair on these young players to have to try to carry the burden because the manager can't be bothered doing his fucking job. Having confidence in a coach does not win you games. Exactly. We have to be honest about it. I thought... Look, it's inevitable this was going to happen. When we seen the team sheet, when we seen the bench, let's be honest, it was fucking inevitable this was going to happen. Arne's turning us into a laughing stock, and there's people that actually think it's acceptable. There's people that actually think it's okay that Liverpool Football Club lose 6 games from 7 and that our manager's taking a piss out of those hard paying fans who went there. And so, because there's no standards. It's okay though, because it's only the League Cup. It's only a competition we've won multiple times. This manager's taking a piss out of our club. He's turning it into a fucking laughing stock. Itachi said, I'm really, really, really afraid of City, Real and Villa. Bye-bye, Arne. Sam said, good job, we have a good bench. Oh, wait, thanks, Arne. Benjamin Alford said, it sums up Slot's team. No Salah, generational season, no goals, just pass, slow. It's really poor. And has been since last March. The standards have dropped. And Nicholas said, genuinely don't understand no players on the bench. I know, mate. I can't make an excuse for this. But apparently some people don't have a standard. Like I said, let me bring you back to the summer. Let me bring you back to that transfer window when the narrative from the club, from the media and us fans was Liverpool are assembling a squad to go out there and compete across every competition. So there wouldn't be another Plymouth Argyle. And what does he fucking do? He goes out there and throws a load of kids out on the pitch and doesn't even stack the bench. Why? Because these fucking pampered, overpaid players are fucking tired? Of what? They should be tired of losing. That's what they should be tired of. They should be embarrassed to go out there and lose this many games in a row. I don't buy into this shit that it's okay for Liverpool Football Club to lose 6 out of 7 games because Arne can't be arsed. We either have standards or we don't. The manager is absolutely taking the piss. And by the way, welcome in to opposition clubs fans because you have every goddamn right to laugh at us right now. You're perfectly within your rights. Fucking joke. Chiesa tries to play in Kirkes, cleared again by Palace. We've had the 5 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. Sam Hodge said, we sacked Rodgers for less than this. I know. Dave said, Craig, you know what I think? Yep. It's embarrassing, lads. It's embarrassing. Like, what is the upside of this? It's half-time, by the way. What's the upside of this for the manager? What? Now he gets to trot out the excuse that it was a much-changed team. Fuck you, Arne. Fuck you. Because you came out before this game and said everybody knows that this competition for Liverpool is playing the younger players. No, bro. It's winning it with younger players. Not playing them. You don't get to just throw the kids under a bus because you're too afraid to hold players to account, Arne. What do they need a break from? Because they've been stinking the gaff up for the last 2 months. They should be dragged out onto that pitch tonight and told you're playing because you don't deserve a fucking break. You don't deserve a rest. There's no standards. None at the club. They talk about it. The captain talks about standards, but where are they out on the pitch? This is Liverpool Football Club. Winning matters. 6 games out of 7 defeats is a piss take. Niklaus said, spent all money for one new player, on one new player to play. Philip said, always thought Arne, great game sense, so wrong. Craig, rival fan here, what went so wrong, lad? So, what's gone wrong, Dominic? Bro, honestly, I don't know. But what I do know is, our manager is accepting it. Like, what's the upside of this shit show we're looking at now? Is more pressure comes on everybody. This is an easy chance at home to put out a strong enough team, win the game and build some momentum. But no, this clown decides to throw the kids under a bus, and he doesn't even do what every other goddamn manager does in this situation, which is, okay, you rotate players, but you bring in strong, heavy hitters on the bench to change the fucking game. Let me read out Liverpool's bench to you at 2-0 down at half-time. Let me read out who the options are to come on and rescue this. Pecci, the young goalkeeper, Cade Gordon, Trent Cone-Doherty, Pinnington, Figueroa, Nallo, Pilling, Lucky, Laffy. What the actual fuck is that, Arne? Seriously, what is that? And what do these lads need a rest from? Being shit? Fuck me. Telly Conter said, hard times, Craig. It's tough, mate. What next? Depends where you're at, right? It depends where you're at. Like I said, I set my stall out last week and I said if he loses 2 of the next 3 games, he's gone in my eyes. But that team selection on its own tonight is unacceptable. It's unfair to the kids. It's unfair to the paying public. And what, does our club not mean anything anymore? Is there no standards? Are we just like... Remember the reaction last year when we lost to Plymouth away from home? Now fast forward to a summer where you spend nearly £500 million and the narrative is we're going to dominate domestically and we're going to challenge on every front next season. That was their fucking narrative. You didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. That was put out there. Now all of a sudden, revisionism is coming in from Arne because he hasn't got a clue what to do. He doesn't know how to stop the raw. He doesn't know how to deal with a long throw-in. He doesn't know how to stop set pieces. He just doesn't fucking know. So he just throws his arms up in the air and lies. Lies to everybody. Lies to everybody. Just fucking lie, lie, lie. Excuse, excuse, excuse. Not good enough. Not fucking good enough. Luke Belton said, this is not fair on the fans and them youngsters. Gary said, this is actually a war crime against the fans. Rogers all over again. This is self-preservation from Arne. That's all this is. Because you throw that shit team out there full of inexperienced players that have never played together and you've got your built-in excuse before the match even starts. And that's all it is. It's a built-in excuse. So he can say, oh well, no, sorry mate, not good enough. This is another black mark against the manager. This is another jot in the copybook. Not good enough. And I'm not going to go in on the players. Because what do we expect a group of inexperienced players that have never played together out there to do? The issue comes with the bench again. We did this before, right? For people who are coming in just to see this part. Before the game, we went through every fixture. Every other game that's going on in the League Cup. And we looked at everybody's squad. Every single other manager has 6 or 7 of their best players at least on the bench. Arsenal pretty much have their full 11. Every one of the starting 11s was stronger than ours. And every single one of them were also in European competition. So why is it that our fucking lads need a rest and everybody else's don't? It's absolutely not good enough. Scolan said this is going to be good for the young players. Getting battered going to be real good for their confidence. Absolute joke. I am Theo Starking said, you never walk along, Craig, today. We remembered standards. We don't have a standard at the minute, bro. We don't have a standard. We've got a manager who's in denial and delusion. And again, I'm going to ask you this question, my fellow Liverpool fans. If this was Arsenal and Arteta, if this was City and Pep, if this was United and Amarim, we'd all be laughing at them and calling for them to be sacked and saying, does your club have no standards? And now it's us, and there's excuses being made by some. Like, suddenly we don't have standards? Like, suddenly this is acceptable? It's an absolute disgrace that this is so flippantly just accepted. That this team is just thrown out there when the lads haven't earned the right to have a rest. They haven't earned the goddamn right to have a rest. They should be put out onto that pitch and told, you're going to play yourselves into form or you're going to have a fucking problem. But no, just put them all on the bench. Just leave them in the stand, send them home. They need are all boo fucking who. Fuck off. Right, question. Should Slot be sacked? Yes or no? We'll have a halftime poll. ESG Soccer said, Sarr putting us to the sword as we deserve. Yes, look, that second goal from a Palace perspective was a well-taken goal. Charles Walk said, I was hoping Slot would turn things around after winning the league last season. After watching this, my faith is gone. Slot needs to leave now. Joke. The Lolly said, I'm getting physically sick. Have to go. So angry. Mate, I am doing everything within my power not to say something I'm going to regret. Vinny Mitch said, you're the one acting like an outside fan. Well, firstly, Vinny, learn to spell. If you're going to have a pop at me, the word you're looking for is you are. I'm sick of saying this to you. I'm not acting like an outside fan. I'm acting like this club has fucking standards. If you want to be a simp, crack on. But we either have standards or we don't. And we have not just been poor this season. We've been poor since the end of last season. So from March onwards, we've been dog shit. And if you think that's acceptable, crack on. You're exactly what Arna's looking for. But I'm sorry, bro. That ain't me. You don't go and win a league, spend £500 million nearly, bring in super talented players, and then start cry-arsing about the fact they need a rest after 2 months of the league. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Lewis said, now what? As we've no one to bring on? Well, now we sit back and hope that it doesn't get much worse in the second half. USA Copite said, the biggest disappointment is we built up, we'd win it all this season. He's got to go. Sorry, keep up the good work, Craig. So it wasn't only us, though, man, that built it up. Like I said, the narrative out there was that we were building a squad to dominate domestically, compete in Europe, and fight for all competitions. That was the line. That wasn't mine. That wasn't anybody in the chats. That was the club's narrative that was put out there in the summer with the business that we've done. Now the revisionism is kicking in and all of a sudden the standards have changed. All of a sudden now it's a little bit different because it isn't going Arna's way. And if anybody at all thinks this run of results is acceptable for a football club that has just won the league and has the type of players that we have in, I don't know what to say to you. It isn't acceptable. It just isn't. I can't say much more than that. It is absolute bullshit that we're supposed to swallow this and say that this is acceptable. Brandon said, must be pulling your hair out with this performance. No, I don't need to, mate. I'd pull your L ones out instead. See, I can be a prick as well. Ha ha ha. Bald man, funny joke. Have you seen the state of yourself, bro? Like, do you want me to pull up your picture and we can all poke fun at you, bro? Because, you know, your hairline's here for a start. So if you want to start playing the poke and fun game, you probably should have used a different picture, mate. But, you know, enjoy. Champs record window, now mid-table team. Sad. Yeah. Just no standards, though, like I've said. No standards. just bullshit. I'm just going to have to take a second because I don't want to get myself in more trouble. So yeah, I'm just taking a second because I want to compose myself because I know I'm going to walk myself into trouble with the anger I'm feeling right now. I'm just trying to get something here. Bear with me. Yeah, there we go. Right, sorry. I feel like Jerome said champs record out the window now, mid-table team. Bry said, okay, we need an entire new defence. Kirk is no good. Frimpong too small. We need defensive fullbacks. Virgil is old. Canade's off to Madrid. And a whole new manager. Let's start talking names. Nelly said he needs to be sacked before the game is done. Dylan Briggs said, surely it's time for Rodgers to come back. There's never time for Rodgers to come back. Who do you think we should bring in if he does get sacked? I can't think of any options. My honest answer to that is I really haven't given it much thought. Iriola is one name that you just think of off the top of your head, but I haven't given it much thought. I don't know. I can't give you an answer because honestly I don't have an answer. I don't know. Sorry that's... You probably deserve a better answer than that, but I really just don't have one. Where are we? This one from Eddie Cox-Wilkins said the club need to sack him tonight. Josh said, I think Arna's lost the plot. We play boring football, no substance, nothing, bring Klopp back. At Medic said, I just saw our bench. Arna is... it's a school night, lad. It's unacceptable, mate. Sorry, Craig. Slot has lost the plot. Time to leave now, said Adam Creswick. Blah said, I'm angry that I've spent money on a Sky subscription to watch play like this. Can't imagine fans who've spent a fortune to be at Anfield. No energy, no desire. Chiesa running for the team. I said about the fans as well, mate, at the very start of the stream. There are people this is their first time going to Anfield. People are bringing their kids and want their kids to fall in love with the club in the same way you and I do. And this is what they're getting from Arna. Lies and excuses. Pissed off and agree Slot is letting the first team hide while the youngsters take heat. Just do one Slot and we'll lose on Saturday. Jacko Venter said, if we don't beat Villa with a well-rested team after the stunt he pulled today, I'm Arna out. Hey Craig, game aside, I hope you're well. To provide contrast to your point, did anybody watch the Wickham game yesterday? I thought it was there. And I thought that Wickham played really well, but Fulham had a strong bench. See, that is the norm, Harry, in the competition, right? You go changed, but you go strong on the bench. I wish I could show you my WhatsApp now, because I've got 100 notifications from people, mates of mine, all just going, what the actual fuck? Like, what is happening? Second half's about to get underway. I'll go back to the remaining super chats then. By the way, difference here now, Mateta warming up for Palace, whereas we've got nothing on the bench. The bench is unfortunately weaker than the 11 that's out there. Look, if you can, and I'm being cheeky saying this, but I'm trying to find a positive in this. Hit the subscribe button if you're with us for the first time or you're enjoying the stream. But I'm sick, lads. I'm sick. I'm actually sickened at this. So here comes Mateta on now for Nketiah. So we now have Mateta up there to our centre-backs to deal with. Right, about to kick off second half. Right, we're underway, second half. Ayuta said Klopp would at least take responsibility for losing the game. Slot always blames the players and the opposition rather than his decisions. Louis said young guns thrown under the bus, pathetic. I mean, talk about a scumbag. I can imagine bringing a continent who are suffering into a conversation, you prick. That's just so far wrong. Um, does Jota dying not hold you back from toxicity? No. Again, you're the one who bringing a dying man into the conversation, mate, not me. And you obviously don't watch my channel because I've spoken at length about that. But I also don't believe in excuses. And that's all that is. It's just an excuse. So, toxicity, you're wrong about toxicity because everybody's agreeing with me. So, it's not toxicity when you're right. You think this is acceptable? Fuck off. Gobshite. And imagine using a dying man to try and make a point as well. Like, you're just such a scumbag. Smithy said, I'm absolutely fuming. Slot's ruining the club. He's trying to sack himself, Craig, I swear. Bree said, Klopp's neck veins would be ready to explode, screaming at players to play with more heart. Slot is showing no emotion, no passion. He was laughing on the sideline a while ago, mate. Laughing. Now, do you agree surfing on Klopp's plan last year? No. So, I'm going to just make this point again, mate, because the irony is, as many of you will know, I've defended Arne against that kind of thing for a long time. And even when he came in, I defended him because former players were talking about him being a sacrificial lamb. So no, I still don't say he only won it because it was Klopp's team, because the reason I gave for the difference I think he made was the availability of players, basically, is where I'm going with it. I think he was able to keep players fitter, which helped us get over the line last year. But what I would say, mate, is this year when he has got his own players in, we've gone backwards and he looks like he hasn't got a clue. I'm about to turn this crap game off, said Chad. Adam Williams said, I agree with you, Craig. What do they need a rest from? Underperforming. Thought you'd have a heavy hitting bench. Hard to take, mate. Keep doing great. So, look, man, it's... Sometimes I doubt myself, right? Sometimes I have a rant or an opinion and I doubt whether I'm in the wrong. I'm not in the wrong on this one. We're not in the wrong. You deserve better. The standard should be higher. This is just a cop-out from Arne. It's just a cop-out. And thank you, Adam. Owen Mulhern said, what an awful move from Slot to do that to the kids. If he does not win the next game, he's gone for me. Tipsy Dipsy said, what an awful... No, I've done that one. Claire. Klopp had stronger benches in these games than Slot. Exactly. Nobody would have complained about the 11 if there was 5 or 6 big hitters on the bench. But now we're 2-0 down, searching to get back into a game with no options to change it. None. So it's almost like admitting if we go a couple behind, sure, it's over. Rob Dance said, but we beat Chelsea with kids, you forget? Oh, fuck me. Do you want to go back through that team, Rob? Do you want to go back through that team and tell me, kids, who scored in one of that? Was it Virgil? Is he a fucking kid? So, stop, mate. Because your point is absolute bullshit. Klopp won with kids. Arne's thrown the kids under the bus. That's the difference, Rob. But like I said, if there's anybody that thinks this is acceptable, you're the problem. Because it isn't acceptable. It's unacceptable for a football club of our calibre to have lost 6 and 7. Unacceptable at any level. Nathan Foster said, when Ange gets the boot, who can replace him though? Or excuse me, when Arne gets the boot, who can replace him? I really don't know. Honest answer is I don't know. From doubters to believers to cowards, disgraceful, said LFC 92. Cannot understand his mental thinking. If senior players are not performing, you keep them on the pitch until they do. Exactly. You could have easily made an argument to play Wirtz here to get him still more used to English football. You could have made an argument here to play Ekatike to keep him going. Even if you don't want to play Ekatike because Isak's injured, fair enough. But you can look around and find 4, 5, 6 senior players to at least have on the bench. At least. Mateta with a strike now, straight at Woodman. 10 games without a clean sheet, by the way. It's time to go. And more than that, it isn't just this season. Let's not forget this. Liverpool were shocking from March onwards last season. So this is just a carry on from that. But because it's 2 different seasons, mentally many people aren't joining the dots. Bring me Klopp back, proper manager with proper tack. Donna and Shane said, I was give Slot time, but after tonight's bench, sack him. Tony Storm said the bench is a joke. We look like clowns. He's trying to get sacked, said Derek Ennis. Hector said, when I saw this team that he was putting on, I felt it was coming. Slot is stubborn and too proud to admit his mistakes. Lee Thompson said, what score do you think it'll take to get Slot sacked today? I don't know, because I don't want the kids to suffer a bad defeat. Whatever about the gaffer, I don't want those young lads out there to be on the end of a mauling because the manager is a coward. Javier said, so disrespectful to the FA Cup champions, embarrassing, 21 is coming, 21 losses at this rate. Adrian said, a total biatch move by Slot. So just to get back to this one, look at he can't even say that other teams aren't as tired as us, because so many of the other teams tonight in this competition are in Europe as well and playing twice a week, and they still have stronger squads out. Now, he's talked about 5 injuries. One of them is a goalkeeper, so you can almost rule that one out anyway as an excuse. And you're saying with 4 other injuries, that justifies not one single senior player on the bench. And not you, by the way, mate. Sorry, I meant the manager. Colin said, Slot in every aspect has been a disgrace. Can't take it anymore. My highlight of the week is watching Liverpool play. It's sad and beyond frustrating. Galileo said, all Arna had to do was use 4-2-3-1 formation. Batu said, Slot pressed the forfeit season button in FIFA. Stephen Lee Reggae Dragon said, no other big club would accept this. Not Barca, Real Madrid, Bayern, Man City. Sorry, this is a disgrace. I have no words. Exactly, mate. Exactly. They wouldn't. And we'd be mocking any other club for this run of results and saying, how have they not sacked their manager? But some people just think we can carry on making excuses week after week after week after week when the manager has a good chance tonight to stem the flow, to get a win, to move into a quarter-final of a competition, to bring some positivity back into the club. But no, he throws the kids under the bus and puts out a weakened team, and we exit one of the 4 competitions we have a chance to win. And we don't really have a chance now in the Prem, so it's Champions League or FA Cup. It's just not good enough from the manager. It's cowardly. Moose said, so many people just assumed he was the guy when he won with someone else's team. Now we're seeing his true self. He's an average manager with a big ego. Look, to be fair, whatever side you were on of whether he was the guy or not, he did win a league, right? We got to respectfully say he won the league. But he messed up the League Cup final. We exited the Champions League at the first knockout stage. Yes, we might have lost to Paris Saint-Germain, but we still went out early. And then we lost in the FA Cup to Plymouth. So he's been back hugely, more than any other manager in my lifetime, in the market, and then he has the cheek to start talking about a few injuries and why he has to put out such a weakened squad. It's not acceptable. Imagine hoping that Lucky and Laffy will save Liverpool. I know. It's crazy. And he also played our 2 left backs. So what if there's an injury there? Now Rob was picking up a booking. He played our 2 left backs as well in the same team. One moaning about injuries in other positions. Who's going to turn it around from the bench? Nobody. There is no one to turn it around from the bench, mate. Niklaus said bench proves no game plan from Slot. At Zero Signal said love the Dutch. They stand for football, as we know, but they never won anything. Why? Because, well, they are arrogant. Sorry, but they don't like to fight. They want to win by being smarter and being above everybody else. Look, there's a lot of things there I can't really speak to or disagree with, but I just don't deal with excuses well, and the manager just seems full of excuses at this point, and it's not good enough when you've spent the money we have and you have the talent we do. Excuses just don't cut it. This is Liverpool Football Club. We exist to win trophies. Would you swap Slot for Glasner? Do you know what? Tactically, obviously, Glasner is really good, but it would be hard to know what Glasner would do with the players we have, system wise and with his style of football. I didn't follow him at Frankfurt when he won the Europa League with them, so I've only really seen Oliver Glasner at Palace, and of course, whatever team Palace puts out, you always see a very well drilled team. So from that regard, you'd say Glasner's doing a cracking job, but honestly, haven't got a clue if it would be suitable to us. The Bumblebee said Real Madrid would not accept this, so why should we? Manager needs to go before he does any more damage. Jacob Hallis said Slots landed in the Atlantic and doesn't know how to swim. I'm sick of watching these politician answer press conferences. Show some accountability. Yep, I said it during the week, mate. You look at Andy Robertson. Look at Andy Robertson's match interview after the game against Brentford, and he said it just isn't good enough. We're not fighting hard enough. We're not battling hard enough. We're not winning second balls. And you need to do all of that before you have the right to use your God-given talent in the game. And he's not wrong. But then you contrast that to Virgil, who says, well, we need to block out the outside noise. The fans need to stay with us. And then Arna keeps making excuses about teams having the cheek to go direct against us. Just not good enough. Just not good enough. They talk standards all the time. Talk standards and what they're set on the training ground and what they do. But then when it comes to accountability time, all of a sudden the standards are out the window. Daniel's randomness said, rival fan, no laughing. What is he doing with the bench? Serious question on him now. He is making a mockery of Liverpool. I have no idea, Daniel, what to say about the bench, mate, other than it's a piss take. And I keep saying this, if this was Arteta this season losing 6 out of 7 games, we'd say, how have Arsenal not sacked him? Right? With Pep, it's a little bit different because you have to say Pep kind of... Oh, look, there's Milos now, limping around. With Pep, he's made Manchester City. So you can't really say, he's probably unsackable to some extent. But any other club, we'd be talking about the manager getting sacked. Any other club. But suddenly, we don't have standards anymore. For some people. Most people are seeing right through this and thinking it's just excuses. But some people really are just trying to find any excuse to justify this bullshit from Arna. Ian O'Cahill said, I don't know about you, but this reminds me of a Roy Hodgson season. If you get sacked, we could do joint managers with Dirk Kuyt and Stevie G. I haven't got a clue to look to the future of a potential manager or not, but it's just soul destroying for so many reasons. Stephen Somerville said, do you think if we get a new manager, it would the new players this season respond more, depending who that is? You need a manager with a pair. You need a manager with the balls to look past reputations and say, you're not playing because you're not pulling up any trees. You're not playing because you're not playing good enough. And we don't have any accountability because we don't have options. Who's going to replace Salah? You're going to say Chiesa, but we all know that Arna ain't playing Chiesa in any type of important game. Gakpo has zero competition on him. Virgil has zero competition on him. Kanade has zero competition on him. And that's after £500 million nearly spent. No, your threat said, I'm telling you, even with the senior players resting for this match, they'll come out in the next game and still play shit. Nathan Foster said, Slot is a closet Man United fan. Sabotage. In plays 2 said, hope you don't sack him. We got a better chance. Leeds. Saeed said, he knew we'd lose. Klopp tried to win these games. Exactly. There's no excuse for this squad he's put out, mate. None. Everything he said is just an excuse. No excuse for it. Let me remind you what he said before the game. He said, people know this club and follow this club know that we use this competition for the younger players to give them a chance to play at Anfield. We also have 5 injuries, which hasn't been helpful. That's just an absolute load of pony from Arna. Yeah, we use it to play younger players and win with them, Arna. And fucking win with them. We don't use it to throw young players under a bus and make excuses for your own failings. Here comes a long throw in from Crystal Palace. We're at the hour mark, still 2-0. And I'm still playing catch up on Super Chats. My apologies. Free out. Referee said Liverpool defender was being dragged. Free out. This one. So Hoffar dude said we need to spray tan you and swap you for Arna now. I tell you what, I couldn't do any worse. I couldn't do any worse, mate. 33W said Liverpool last lost 6 out of 7 consecutive games during the 53-54 season. My dad was still in his dad's, let's just say, future thinking. He needs to go tonight. Love AA. And thank you, mate. And love to you and your family. Bashir says unacceptable. What is he resting them for? I'm sick of his pressers. Too arrogant. Not for the sack yet, but he better figure it out quick. So I'm not for the sack yet either, Bashir. But I did say if he loses 2 out of the next 3 games, for me, he has to go. But he's thrown away this tournament tonight. He's thrown away a chance of a trophy. And for what? To rest players who don't deserve a rest? Who shouldn't be tired 2 months into a season? Who had the end of last season practically off? What do they need a rest from? From losing? Here's Mateta. His strike is blocked. Second ball back. Again, good block from Joe Gomez. Batu said, a chance for Palace to get a historic result. JC84 said, when was the last time a team was beaten 3 times in the same season by the same team in 3 different competitions? Utterly shambolic. It is utterly shambolic, and I don't know the answer to your question. So, I don't know, Polpu said, so much negativity here. This match is sackable. Carabao Cup is no trophy. Players deserve a rest, regardless of what you think about it. Well, I would say, mate, that the majority of people agree with me and disagree with you. Now, we've won this trophy, I think, more than any other team. And when you're in the shits and you're not playing well, surely you want to build momentum and positivity by picking up wins when they're there, right? What message does this send? That we've put out this team. And why do they deserve a rest? A rest from what? Their job? Their fucking job? That they're paid multi-millions of pounds a year to do? Why do they need a rest? Are they tired from losing? I don't understand the point. We're in October here, mate. The season started in August. We're in October. After they've had a summer of partying and celebrating. So, you're just somebody, I would say, another one with no standards. No standards. You don't get to become the most successful team in English football history by just throwing away trophies. Sorry, where am I at? Saddened by this, from Klopp's air and charismatic to man who makes 50 excuses, no dynamism, and overall making us look silly. Villa result or he's gone. Byron Burke said, we'll be lucky to finish above 6th place. Livid. Jessica Drury said, Slot has chucked the cup tie. Nessie said, they brought in Slot because of his style of play. Was statistically closer to what Klopp had. What is going on now? Where's all the data and stats? That's a really good point, Nessie. And whatever side of this debate we're on, you're right. We were supposed to have minimal upheaval, a similar philosophy with, yes, some tweaks. It's okay. Nallo and Lucky are coming on now, though, so, we're about to save the game by bringing on 2 inexperienced players. Good for Nallo to get more minutes, and, well done to Lucky for getting into the first team, but I don't know. You're right, Nessie. Where is all of that gone? Because even taking this game and pushing it aside, mate, we haven't looked anywhere close to being anywhere near the team that we were under Klopp or under Arne last season, this season. Slot is a fraud. Love the channel, Craig. Great content. You're a good lad. Thank you, Cat Dad. Appreciate you. David Lindsay said, I think Jota dying has affected a lot of players. So, of course, David. That's absolutely... I'm sorry I'm kind of pausing here because I go over this quite a bit and it's a difficult subject to discuss for obvious reasons. But here's the thing, David. You know when we won 5 or 6 at the start of the season? It was all about doing it in memory of. Now that we're losing 6 out of 7, it's the players are suffering because of it. And I promise you, mate, if there are players who are suffering, they deserve to be taken out of the limelight and given a break and help and anything that they need. Sincerely, hand on heart, mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've been through grief. I understand that. And I'm a human being. But we're not hearing that. And they're not counteracting that. So if there is a problem in that regard, well then of course take those players out of the limelight. But I don't want it to be used as an excuse. Because there are countermeasures to help out. But it will always be a valid point to some extent. Of course it will. Of course it will, mate. Charlie said, hi Craig, new member, love the content, keep it up. Thank you, Charlie. Angry Jeans 13 said, mate, another loss. How long will you stay in a job, Arne? Look, for me, I'm giving them the next 3 games. You know, like I said, this game, even in the best of circumstances, is always somewhat of a roll of the dice with change players. But, you know, Aston Villa Saturday, Real Madrid midweek, and Manchester City before the international break. These are the games for me that's going to make up my mind. And some people may say, look, Craig, that's too short-term thinking. I respect their opinion as well. But that's where I'm at with it. Love from New Zealand. You've made the best Liverpool content. As an Arsenal fan, I'm enjoying Liverpool's downfall, but you are right. If this was Arteta and Arsenal, we'd want Arteta out. Exactly. And this is what I don't get from some of our fans, mate. You know, we're not just inventing... Like, this isn't a loss and a draw and we're all saying manager out. This is 6 from 7. And love over to you in New Zealand as well, mate. I think you're going to have a good season this season as an Arsenal fan. Can't believe people don't see what Arne is doing. He's a coward leaving these kids out to dry, said Brennan Smith. Chad Husker said, I sure would love Klopp to come back in as an interim manager to finish the year and give the club time to find the next manager. Righteous Gamer said, not happy, but at least we don't get beat by Grimsby Town. Yeah, I mean, and then you see Brentford go and whoop them by 5-0 as well. Tony Marsland says, basic disrespect to us fans. Yeah, and anybody who's paid their money to go and travel to that game as well. The Red King said, I've thumped how Slot has gone from playing dynamic, fast pace when needed, measured football to this. I hate to say it, but he's got to go. Scraps Lewis said, I'm annoyed. Slot is like, I won the league. It's on my CV. Job done. What about pushing and winning again? Think he has done it already. So, look, we said this so many times. We were told in the summer we were building a team to dominate. And that what happened last year with Plymouth can't happen again because we're building out a squad. And now, few injuries, the manager's thrown out a team with not one, you know, backup senior player in it. It's just, it's counterintuitive. And it's wrong. And it's cowardly. And it's self-serving. And again, what do they need a rest from? They don't deserve a rest. They haven't played well enough to have earned a rest. They should be embarrassed. They should be wanting. They should be kicking the manager's door down to saying, I want to play. Don't leave me out tonight, Gaffer. I want to play. I want to put this right. This team needs to get back to winning ways. Fredswell said, does a loss tonight fully sway you Arne out? No. Tonight was never going to be a deciding factor for me. It will make It'll form part of a bigger picture, but it was never going to be my deciding factor tonight. Now, to see that team sheet and the bench is a disgrace. But like I've said, there's a chance to get a win. There's a chance to get momentum and build positivity back. And he just throws it away. And during the international break, when we'd lost 3 in a row and we've got United coming up, he pisses off to Dubai for a jolly up. You don't get to do all those things, be shit and still get goodwill and good grace. You know, if you're walking the league and everyone's great and you go to Dubai and a jolly up during the international break, fair enough. But we're stinking the gaff up. And you don't think that that's worth maybe, I don't know, busting a gut to fix? Tim said, you think Robbo says his piece after the game to the media? Not sure. Not sure. Honestly, not sure, mate. You know, he'll be honest about it. And look, it's starting to empty in there already. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. It's emptying. Anfield is emptying 70 minutes with 2 goals down, and it's emptying out already. And that doesn't tell you something? That these people have paid their hard-earned money to go to that, and they're so disillusioned that they're leaving at 70 minutes. FC Pitside said, thanks God we conceded because I got worried. Sarcasm. Charles Walsh said, our owners can't be happy watching this. HF Rag said, Ismail Assar got Anfield on lock. Games so back. The Bin said, the whole thing is cooked. Slaughter's lost his head. It was all part of my plan. Said, we've gone from Klopp's kids to Slot's sacrifices. James said the kids' confidence will all be shit after this game. Harry Sinclair said, for those who don't know, I'm a Manchester United season ticket holder. From an outside perspective, I think that Arna and Virgil are potentially too similar, and I don't think either of them are rocketing people behind the scenes. Well, they should be rocketing them, because you can't switch standards on and off. I keep saying this. You just can't do it. A club either has standards or you don't. A dressing room either has standards or it doesn't. It isn't we have standards when we're winning, and then when we're losing all of a sudden we don't have standards, there's no accountability. It's one or the fucking other. You can't just flick these things on and off. Galileo said, why does Arna obsessed with 4-2-3-1 formation? I don't know, mate. You know, if he has a formation, fair enough. But if you're unwilling to alter it to try and stem the flow, you know, then you're just being pig-headed. Excuse me. Saka scores off the bench for Arsenal, said the Rivalry. There you go. George said, fed up the manager making excuses after excuse. I'm slightly still slot in, but don't know how much more of this I can take. No standards whatsoever. Alex Alvarado said, only team I've seen with so many stars is GSW in the NBA. Not even the Galacticos won a lot in Madrid. You cannot have so many stars on a team. Javid Iqbal said, fuming, came back from a walk to find us 2 down. This is sackable. If I was this bad in my job, I would be out. We're Liverpool. We have high standards. Thank you for having those standards, mate, because I genuinely appreciate it. The disrespect Mo and VVD towards us is really wild. Sorry, said know your threats. Evan Whelan said, Craig, to be fair, Glasner didn't email Slot as 11. To be fair, he didn't give it to him for approval. You're right, Evan. And he didn't sign the no long balls and no long throw-ins contract either, that apparently is against Arna's wishes. Young Rio now tries to bundle his way through. Palace put it out. It would be a Liverpool corner on the far side. Phil, I think it is, said, what's your favourite James Bond movie? I'm probably in the minority here, and I'm actually kind of embarrassed to say this. I've never watched the one full James Bond movie. Never. I've seen bits and pieces of 1 or 2, but I've never watched an entire movie. If United lost 6 or 7, we'd be in need 24/7. Exactly. If any other team, Mark, lost 6 out of 7, we'd be asking, do the club have any standards? Let alone the defending champions. The main stand roof is leaking. The main stand roof is leaking, for the love of fucking God. Oh my God. The main stand roof is leaking. So that's why some of the people are headed. That's just. SK Burkhardy said, with Chelsea now heavily linked to Iriola at Bournemouth, is it possible that FSG act faster in sacking Slot and replacing with Iriola? I really don't think Arna's going to get sacked this season no matter what happens. I think he could go out there and drop a deuce in the halfway line and he still isn't going to get sacked. That's just my gut feeling, but I don't know. Andrew said, bring in Stevie G. Bring back King Kenny, said Andrew. Discarded on, said Craig, I'm a Chelsea fan, but if Maresca fielded such a weak team and bench and we lost, I'd be Maresca out. I'm a big fan. Thanks for all your content. Appreciate your kind words, mate. As I said, if any other club's manager was doing this and had spent the money we spent and were this bad and he was still making excuses, I would be sitting on here taking the piss, never ending. So that's why I'm happy for people to come in and take the piss out of me and us, because we deserve it. Excuse me, we deserve it. So I'm not pushing back on anybody who's in to banter us tonight, because that's fair order. That's proper order. You've every right to banter us. We deserve to be bantered. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets sacked tonight, said LFC Drew. Slot has to go, said Childish for life. Slot has been found out, said Tipperary. Don't think you've spoken about the game. In the second half, genuinely, I've been trying to make sure I read people's super chats because I hate people spending their money and them not getting... Sorry, I hate people spending their money and not getting their super chat read out, so I'm just trying to make sure I can get through everyone's super chats. From an Arsenal fan, your fans deserve more. You know, when we've got Arsenal fans feeling sorry for us, we know we're in a bad place, but thank you, mate. Brad Breckwell said, Slot's gone from the local school and handed out the LFC kits to the kids and brought them onto the team, and took Robbo from the local retirement home. N3 Pat HYA said, Slot seems a clueless man. He brought players without knowing their strengths and weaknesses, had no idea or any game plans. This is pathetic. Chris Willow said, I think Slot was hoping for results with this C team and then the players watching to try and motivate them. It's massively backfiring. The Bumba Dog says, Slot has turned Liverpool from relentless to clueless, baffling selections, no answers to direct play, no identity. Title winners don't get excuses, they get results. Sack him now. Double Line 29 said, good to see you, bro. Hope you're well. I'm sick of watching us lose. Not going to lie, I'm dying for Klopp back. Slot is a mess, like a 6-year-old. On FIFA, sorry. And now we've just got a red card for Nallo as well. So Nallo sent off. So now we're down to 10. The second time Nallo's been sent off. So he's played for us twice in the first team. He's been sent off twice. And he's stopping it. You can't argue against the red card. It is a red card. Palace player was through on goal. And Nallo drags him back and he's sent off. So literally every fucking thing you are doing, Arna, is having a negative knock-on effect. Every single decision that you have made is denting confidence and having a knock-on effect. Well done. But this competition's about the kids, right, Arna? Them kids you're throwing under the bus, bro. Throwing them under the bus. Fuck me. And Double L Line, thank you, mate. Look. Stephen Lee Butler, strike, free kick. Woodman saves it. 10 minutes to go. In times like this, thank you for being here, Craig. Honestly, tonight, all I'm trying to do is not get myself into trouble. Because if I said how I'm really feeling out loud, like in the way I would talk to my mates, there wouldn't be a channel here tomorrow. So I'm just trying to get through the comments and not get myself into trouble. Elmer said, "Lucky coming on. Hope he lives up to the name. For fuck's sake, Slot. Not even a solid bench to help out." ESG Soccer said, "Feels like first team quit on Arna Slot, so he plays the children. Bringing up Jota when we're losing is BS and soft as anything. Arna is done though." Ethan's TikTok said, "Arna out if we lose to Aston Villa." Angry Ginge 13 said, "This is what I hate. Why don't fans like you believe and back him instead of just asking for him to be sacked?" So, good attempt at trying to bait me, and I will stop tomorrow if you can find once where I said sack him. Just find that once, and I'll stop tomorrow. But you're just trying to bait me with a comment that I never said. So, I don't know what else to say to you, but you're putting words that I've never said in my mouth to try and bait a reaction from me. But you crack on, mate, and you be you. And cheers for the super chat. Sorry, one sec. And let me just tell you what fans like me are. Fans like me are honest. Fans like me care. Fans like me say what other people think but don't have the balls to say because they might not get access. Fans like me give a shit. Fans like me leave it all out there, unlike our manager who makes excuses. So fans like me have standards, mate. But like I said, you had a go. You tried to bait me. But ultimately, it doesn't change that because I know I'm right. And I know the majority of Liverpool fans watching agree with me because there's no way this is acceptable to anybody. When we lose this weekend, do you reckon he's sacked? Honestly, like I said earlier on, I don't think he gets sacked this season. I think he gets the season no matter what. I disagree with that, but I would guess that that's the way this pans out. Martin said, "If Slot loses on Saturday, he should be sacked." The Honest Tiger said, "As a United fan, all I can say is, lol, still my second favourite YouTuber. Keep up the good work you do for your channel." Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. You've every right to laugh at us. If this was you, I'd be laughing at you lads as well. So like I said, anybody coming in to banter us, crack on. We deserve that banter. I'm not going to lash out at opposition fans for doing exactly what I do in their position, you know. What do you think should happen from tomorrow with this team/manager if you had the power? Again, I wouldn't sack the manager just yet. Like I've said, for me, the next 3 games are going to be telling, and I've said this building up to this game. Tonight has just added more fuel to the fire for me of anger because of the selection and the squad. But, he needs to win the 2 league games. If he loses 2 of the next 3 games, I will be Slot out. But at the moment, I'm hoping, beyond hope, because it is hope rather than expectation at this point, that he can turn it around. There isn't a Liverpool fan that doesn't want this team to be successful. There isn't a Liverpool fan that doesn't want Slot to work. But it's how much is enough for each person, and I can't tell you what is enough for you. It's an individual thing. When you've had enough, you've had enough. If you want to keep backing, you keep backing. That's sound. All I ever ask for people is don't talk down to others. What shoe size am I? I mean, thanks for making me smile, Trevor Trolls. A 10. Like I am in every other aspect. I just subscribed to you. I only watch one other fan channel besides you. Great content. As an Arsenal fan, I feel your pain. Don't deserve this. Thank you. Appreciate that. Really do. Stanislas Kankov said, "Alonso subbed off Vinny at 70 minutes in El Clasico. Slot doesn't have the balls and is too afraid to bench Salah." Rest in October, shocking excuse, frustrating. We only get worse as the season goes on. He needs to go before it's too late. If it's not too late already. Dorn of War said we should play a low block and long balls. I hear it's impossible to defend or to beat. So 5 minutes to go. Chiesa giving chase still on the right side. Puts in a cross, it's headed away. Just a reminder, we're down to 10 men as Nalo was sent off for a last man challenge. Brennan Smith said, I really think the only reason Arnott is still here is because FSG don't want to look a fool by spending all that money on him. Look, these are supposed to be owners that take emotion out of it, right? And look at the facts in front of them. Well, show me the facts that show we're going in the right direction. In any metric. Any. And I don't see it. Clean sheets are impossible. Rio's coming off. It's replaced by Trent Doherty. Mike said, I'm really starting to feel Arnott is heading in the Eric Ten Hag direction. Lots of excuses, no change in form. And thank you for that one, Mike Zacharias. Nathan on the mission, thank you, mate. Alex Alvarado said, do you think our new signings are regretting coming? No, I wouldn't say that, mate. Because like the players we have are too good to fail over a longer course of time. But how we got to this point, I'm truly just baffled. Brian, how are we, sir? Always a pleasure. If Slot was saying that patience is needed because the system needs time, understandable. But his constant excuses are embarrassing and shows pathetic leadership. I would agree, Brian. Because we still don't have a system that any of us understand what we're trying to do. And if that system, as you said, Brian, was causing us to make mistakes, we'd understand that. But we're going backwards. Backwards from last season. Backwards in every sense. The real Johnny Sin said, Slot threw away an entire trophy just for the Villa game. So anything less than a win on Saturday, and by God, Arna has to go immediately. Final straw. 3-0. 3-0 now. Jeremy Pino, I think it is, makes it 3-0 to Palace. Again, a good finish, a good goal from Palace's perspective. But you can see Anfield emptying out now as those fans who paid their hard-earned money are emptying it out. Pulse Champ said, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Lowest point since I started supporting the club. Starting to ask serious questions of Slot. Seems completely clueless. Mr. Parker said, Slot won the league with Klopp's team. Slot sucks. Send it Jeff said, this must be hard for you. I'm enjoying the banter. Keep making great content. It's better than United creator. Keep going, lad. Thank you, man. What can you say? Like, there's nothing. I've nothing left to say, really. At this point, it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic, and we deserve everything that's coming our way from other people. We deserve it. Titan said, my granddad went back to Anfield after 6 years, 5-hour journey. He was really excited about the game. He must be gutted. What the fuck is this bench? I know, mate. Like I said, it's difficult. So I know so many people who this was their first game tonight. I know people who were bringing their kids to it for the first time, who had, would have gone to any game, but this was one they could get a ticket to. So they booked their flights, they booked their hotel, they're there with their families, they've spent a couple of grand, probably all in, and Arna puts that out and thinks that's okay. That's acceptable. The fuck you to the fans and the people that paid their hard-earned money, it's acceptable. He's an absolute clown at this point. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just so appalling. And like, we're at home as well. So it's not like they had to travel. So I feel sorry for your granddad, mate. I sincerely do, and I'm sorry that it's happened that way for him. Do you think Liverpool next season will be playing in the Europa League or the Conference League? Look, it's not. It's still rescuable for us to get into the Champions League. But it has to change really quickly now. Like, really, really quickly. Chad said, Glasner is going to walk up to Gay and tell him you're welcome for nicking your Liverpool transfer, stopping your Liverpool transfer. Johnny Jaywick said, I'm in two minds. This can't go on, but Slot won the league. This league is lost. The cup is lost. Didn't prioritise the centre-back over the summer. Shame. And I think, Johnny, you're probably where I am. Like, I don't want to get to that point to say I'm out, I want him gone. I really don't. And winning the league holds a lot of water for me as well, mate. But at the same time, there are things he could be doing to make life easier. And he's not. Salah Hairline said borderline sabotage from Slot, killing confidence. Formula Threeful, thank you, mate. David Rodriguez said, as a Madrid fan, I feel sorry for you and the rest of the club's fans. You don't deserve this. Vinny Jr., Mbappe and Jude are licking their lips. I said this last week, mate. We've got Manchester City coming up at the Etihad next week, and Erling Haaland must be sitting at home with a massive horn just thinking, I can't wait. I can't wait. I am going to absolutely riddle this Liverpool defence. And as you said about your own players, yeah, do you think Madrid coming over to Anfield next week are shitting themselves after what they're seeing with us? No. They're coming over thinking that they can absolutely wipe the floor with us. MHVK9LR said, wouldn't be surprised if he put the cleaners on. Aaron Garza said, do you think Slot was scared to lose again with his starters and face more backlash and he used the kids as a scapegoat? I guess only he can answer that one. You know, I don't know the answer to that. But ultimately, I don't see the upside of what he was trying to do here today, because we were hardly going to win this game with that squad. And again, I say squad because we would all understand a much changed 11. So something's been playing in my mind for a few minutes, and it's this comment. It's been playing in my mind for a few minutes, mate. I know, I don't know what position in life your granddad's in, but you said it's 6 hours and a 5 hour journey. Well, I'd like to cover that cost for your granddad, because I'm embarrassed that your granddad spent 5 hours on a train and waited 6 years to go back to Anfield for this. So I'm happy to cover the costs of his match tickets and his travel. If he'd like, get in touch and I'll cover that cost, because he shouldn't have to have seen that shit. You know, like I said, I'm sorry for you, granddad, that he had to go through that. But I want him to see a better game than that. I want him to have a better experience than that. So if there's anything I can do to help out, even figure out another game from the go-to or something, we do that. Like, it's fucking unacceptable, man. And I'm thinking of all the parents out, the kids as well. Like, it's just so fucking unacceptable. Like, these weren't handed out free tickets. People worked their asses off to pay for their tickets to go to this game, and this fucking clown. It's over. The final whistle's gone. Yeah, 3-0 out of the League Cup. Sorry, where was I? This one. How much is Steele Newcastle's manager? I don't know, man. Tony Martin said, I've never felt this low as a devoted fan. Evan Castellar said, Saka scores for Arsenal, they're in the Champions League. At this point, I'm not even getting upset about the losses because I expect them. This is very concerning, said Brian Danielson. Hossam said, seeing this lineup, a loss was guaranteed. Resting them for what? They've been on a vacation all season. Total disrespect to the fans. No hope. I agree, Hossam. The Pork Chop Express said, okay, it's time to go and cry in the shower like a real man. Make room for me, mate. I'll be in there later for the crying part, I mean. I have no problem losing, but losing and not seeing any progress or what our playing style is not okay. We should expect more. This squad. Thank you, Borom, excuse me. Marco said, which managers would you bring in? You're from Argentina. Much love to you, bro. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't thought about it one bit. Iriola is a name that you think instinctively, but even at that, it's a risk. Could you pull Slot out in the match reaction? Certainly. We did it at half-time as well, but we'll certainly ask that question in the match reaction. It's Eric Ten Hag football, relies solely on special moments. Said, let's talk football. Dave Smith said, gutted. Ups and downs on here. Keep your head up, mate. Thank you. Never seen pool fans leaving early like tonight, said Rapelier. Gaming Gas said, fans walking out shows they've had enough. Liverpool should refund the fans after this tonight. I don't disagree with that one. Tattoo Gardner, it's an embarrassment. Massive Horn, lol, said, the Rahu play. Oh, it's too long a name, mate. Sorry. Matty Gorman said he's got 3 games to save his job. I agree. Timothy said, sackable offence. Amram and Arteta walked into train wreck of teams. We have top players and a winning culture, and Arna has no excuse. Love from New York City. Thank you, sir. Zambo Jimmy said, it feels like without Soboslai, we're worth nothing. Nearly there. Stephen Coupland said, I feel so sorry for the scapegoat these young players and Chiesa have been tonight. CJ Plays Golf said, not much, but please put this towards the ticket and accommodation costs. Unacceptable. And this one as well for the granddad. See what I mean? This is my community, by the way. And this is why I love you all dearly. Because we care. You care about that man's granddad as well. It's absolute bullshit. And the acceptance and the ease at which he goes into making excuses is pathetic. So thank you all for that. You're absolutely wonderful people. Slot's arrogance reminds me of Eric Ten Hag and the bald fraud. Look, I can't push back on any of these banter comments. And Gareth Edwards as well, thank you. Right, look folks, we're going to run to the match reaction. I'll see you over there in 60 seconds. This one as well, Martin, for Grandad. Absolutely, do reach out to us, mate. Like we said, we'd love to either try to help your Grandad get to another game or do something to give him a more pleasurable experience than he's seen with that shit tonight. I was expecting a semi-strong lineup with a few changes, of course. Surely we should have used the game to gain momentum. Villa are on a roll at the minute. Tamer said the Nottingham Forest owner would have sacked Klopp at half-time on the pitch. For Grandad, thank you, Dylan. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And this one as well from Marilyn towards Grandad. Love from Canada. All I can say is thank you for giving me something tonight. Positive. You're amazing people. Amazing, amazing people. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for making my life better. And I'll see you guys in the match reaction. So yeah, much love for all of you for your kindness. We'll see you for the match reaction. I'm a United fan that I feel sorry for the lad's granddad. Thank you as well, Nathan. You're a gent. And this one as well for Grandad P76. Absolute gentleman. Look, we'll see you in the match reaction in a few moments.